Selamat pagi rekan-rekan semua radiografer Indonesia. Sudah 7 orang yang hadir pada pagi hari ini. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Yang terhormat rekan-rekan radiografer Indonesia yang sudah berkenan hadir pada pagi hari ini. Kenalkan, saya Beni Asusurjo, anggota PP Pari bidang KLS yang pagi hari ini akan menghantarkan pada acara webinar PPD Asia ke-47 yang diselenggarakan oleh MSR, Malaysian Society of Radiographers dari Malaysia saat ini yang berlangsung. Sama-sama marilah kita panjatkan syukur kehadiran Allah Ta'ala, Tuhan Yang Maha Esa, karena rahmat dan limpahan karunia-Nya kita semua dapat berkumpul secara virtual di pagi hari ini dalam keadaan sehat dan bahagia. Webinar MSR PPD 47 kali ini judul Radiografer at the Forefront in Optimizing TV Exposure and Image Quality, yang merupakan bagian PPD rutin Asia yang kita ikuti bersama. Ini adalah PPD Asia yang ke-47 yang diselenggarakan oleh MSR Malaysia. Jadi ini tentu penting buat kita semua karena pada tema kali ini lebih banyak di scan pencitraan TV yang harapannya adalah bagi radiografer pada depan kita bisa melakukan optimalisasi terkait radiasi dan hasil pada titik. Memang berkembangnya teknologi mau nggak mau radiografer itu harus mempunyai kualitas yang bagus untuk optimalisasi gambar ini. Jadi dengan webinar ini mari kita bersama membuka wawasan baru dan bisa melakukan praktik terbaik dari para ahlinya, tentunya nanti yang akan membawakan dari speaker di Malaysia tentang strategi optimalisasi TV exposure dalam peningkatan kualitas citra. Jadi saya hantarkan nanti kira-kira untuk susunan acaranya adalah sebagai berikut. Nanti kita akan segera bergabung dengan Malaysia sebentar lagi. Jamnya mungkin kalau terlihat di tengah-tengah ada jam 9 waktu Malaysia, nanti jam 8 di waktu Indonesia kita akan mengikuti acara di sana. Jam 8 nanti ada pembukaan, kemudian dilanjutkan oleh pembicara pertama jam 8.15 oleh Dr. Nur Azira Muhammad, Principal of TV Imaging dan Radiation Exposure. Kemudian 1 jam berikutnya nanti jam 9.15 waktu Indonesia ini yang saya sampaikan biar kita sesuaikan dengan waktu kita adalah Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Hanafi Ali, Essential of TV Image Quality Parameter and Trade-off. Kemudian jam 10.15 waktu Indonesia ada Mr. S. Nuhali, dia adalah expert in TV Technology and their impact of radiation dose. Kemudian pembicara keempat, pembicara terakhirnya adalah pada jam 11.15 dan berakhir nanti jam 12.15 dengan penutupan kira-kira sesuai acara adalah jam 12.30 waktu tempatnya Asosiasi Profesor.
Hello, good morning.
Akmal Safarudin.
Good morning, President Law.
Akan membawakan rule of
Your virtual background cell 46.
City Protocol.
Yes. Okay, when I call you in Taiwan, you are online, but I call you in VNA, a lot of question for you, 1,000 question for you. But I call you, you sleeping well, huh?
Yeah, sorry.
Akan kita share kembali dan kita Indonesia nanti akan bergilir di 9 Agustus kalau tidak ada perubahan. Jadi dengan susunan ini semoga nanti bisa kita uji bersama sampai akhir, sampai jam setengah 1 waktu Indonesia untuk acara
Morning,
CPD
Fernando.
Asia
Hello, long time no see you. How about Taiwan?
saat ini
Everything is
diadakan
okay?
di
Yes, everything
negara
okay.
Malaysia.
See you in Chiang Mai,
Malaysia Association.
No, I am busy. Not have time to go there.
Mungkin itu yang bisa saya sampaikan untuk
Okay.
memperkenalkan kita
See you in
bersama
Chiang Mai.
pada acara CPD Asia
Yes, see you Chiang Mai.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sekitar 4 menit lagi nanti akan dimulai.
Oh, Sabao, good morning,
acaranya.
Sabao. Long time no see you also.
8 waktu
Yeah.
Indonesia,
Everything is okay?
9
Yeah, I'm good.
waktu
I'm good. Yeah.
Malaysia.
Good morning, Fernando, kawan. Interlock.
Hi. Good morning.
Yeah.
Morning,
Ya,
Rianto, the world.
Yeah. Hello, hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Sukianto.
Mengucapkan
Yeah.
selamat
Hello,
mengikuti
guys.
webinar pada
Also.
Yeah.
pagi hari
In
ini.
Ramadan time in Indonesia like
Oh,
that.
today,
Dengan seksama
Yeah, in
Sabao
Malaysia
today make
also.
event,
gangguan
In Malaysia.
seperti itu.
Yeah.
Big event long time,
Semoga ini
About
nanti
4
efektif
hours,
untuk
like that.
kemajuan fotografer Indonesia. Fotografer Indonesia
In
bersama
Napapong
sejahtera.
asked me,
Dulu ya.
how is Sawar
Warahmatullahi
in Asia
wabarakatuh.
CPD
Selamat
3
pagi,
hours?
salam
Napapong
untuk
asked me,
semuanya.
so
Sehat mengikuti
I think it's not
Today,
that
3
long,
hours.
maybe it's just tentatively that is a timing that we are given to them.
Kita tunggu bersama. Terima kasih.
I answered, I don't know, because the Sawar very small.
Also, next CBD is Sri Lanka, right?
Sri Lanka. Yes,
Next month.
next month, Sri Lanka.
See, until now, not see Vietnamese.
Morning, everyone. I'll be starting in 2 minutes.
3 minutes. Now have about, in Macau, I saw 260 participants, but the other, I don't know. Hello, Tan Minh. Morning. Your mic is muted. Where are you? Oh, your mic is mute. Tan Minh, your mic is mute. Hi, Nelson.
Hi, long time no see.
Yes, see you, Chiang Mai. Are you good?
Yes,
I just back from Japan yesterday night.
yes, it's snowing.
Yes, snowing for Waka, very, very cool. But now it start sunshine again.
Oh, it's good.
Yes, I'm going to Japan now. I'm in the airport.
Go see Sakura.
Go
Sakura
to
season.
Sendai. Yeah.
Yes, hello, everyone from Asia and to all our audiences from all parts of the world, most especially to everyone in Malaysia. This is CPD Asia, the online continuing professional development platform for Asian Radiology Technology Societies. And hosting the 47th CPD Asia is the Malaysian Society of Radiographers. I am Peachy Luna, CPD Asia Secretary General and your CPD Asia program host. Take note that we are live streaming on YouTube. You can search MSR, PARI, or a VART channel so you can join us live or you can watch a replay. This CPD Asia is always supported and graced by member societies, presidents, all the officers and their representatives. Let us greet and welcome President Fernando Koch of Macau Radiological Technologists Association, MRTA. President Koch.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Fernando from Macau. Thank you.
Good morning, dear President. We have also President of Perhimpunan Radiographer Indonesia, Indonesian Society of Radiographers, or PARI, Dr. Giek Subianto.
Hello, good morning, everyone. See you again in CPD Asia.
Yes, and we have also President of Vietnam Association of Radiological Technologists, VART, President Phai Van Loc. President Loc. All right, we also have the Hong Kong Radiographers Association, HKRA President, Mr. Nang Tat Ning.
Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to invite you, all of you, for the 48th CPD Asia next month, organized by ourselves. So, because in the later I will not be able to join this webinar. Okay, then thank you. I will hand over Dr. Pichi Luna on behalf of myself to introduce our program. Thank you.
Thank you. We have received greetings from our dear president, but let me start with Mr. Yusuke Akita from Japan Society for Medical Image Management, representing JRT president.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good morning there in Japan. We also have received greetings from President Sophie Lee of Association of Cambodian Radiological Technologists, from Singapore Society of Radiographers President Denise Chu. We also have received I don't know if we have still here President Muhammad Abdel Ghani, President of Palestinian Association of Medical Radiation Technologists. He was here earlier. I don't know if he's here in Zoom. We have from Indian Society of Radiographers and Technologists, ISRT, President Mohan Lal Bhagwat. And we have the immediate past president here,
Singapore
Sir
Society of
Salva
President Denise Chu.
Namaste.
We also have received
Warm greetings from India for
we
the
have still here
best
President
program by
Muhammad
the
Abdel
MSF.
Ghani, President of
All right.
Palestinian Association of Medical
Yes, nice
Radiation
to see you too,
Technologists.
dear
He was
sir.
here
And we
earlier.
have
I
from
don't know if he's
Hui
here in
Yuan
Zoom.
Ho, Taiwan
We
Society of
have
Radiological
from Indian Society
Technologists
of
and President of
Radiographers
Philippine
and
Association of
Technologists,
Radiological
ISRT,
Technologists,
President
President
Mohan Lal
Ruben
Bhagwat. And we have the
Lorenzo.
immediate past
We also
president
have
here,
panelists who will be
Sir
joining us
Salva
here. I
Kumar.
saw here Putu Adisanta from
Namaste.
Indonesia. We have Chair
Warm
Cora Nang
greetings
of
from India
MRTA.
for the
So they
Hello, good morning.
best
Nice to meet
program by the
you.
MSF.
All right. So
Nice to
before we
see you.
start, can
Yes,
I
nice to
humbly
see you
ask
too, dear
first
sir.
our
And we have from Hui
moderators,
Yuan Ho,
camera,
Taiwan Society of
speakers,
Radiological
camera, and all our
Technologists, and
presidents who
President
are
of
here
Philippine
for a short
Association of
photo
Radiological
session.
Technologists is President Ruben Lorenzo. We also have panelists who will be
All right,
joining
thank you
us
very
here.
much,
I
dear
saw
presidents,
here Putu
officers, and
Adisanta from
panelists. They'll be
Indonesia.
joining us
We
again
have
later
Chair
during the
Cora Nang
Q&A
of
session.
MRTA.
So without further ado,
Hello,
let us
good
begin
morning.
with the
Nice to meet
session now.
you.
Please
All
welcome
right.
our
So before
session
we start,
moderator,
can I humbly
Ms.
ask
Haikal
first
Binti
our
Awang
moderators, camera, speakers,
Okay,
camera, and all
Assalamualaikum and
presidents
good
who are here
morning,
for a short
everyone.
photo session.
Good morning for esteemed guests, respected speakers, and participants joining us from across Asia.
Right, thank you very much, dear
Welcome to
presidents, officers, and panelists. They'll
47th
be joining us again
CPD
later
Asia
during the
program,
Q&A session.
organized by
So
the
without further
Malaysian
ado, let us
Societies
begin
of
with the session
Radiographers.
now. Please
Today, we
welcome our
convene
session
under the
moderator,
theme
Ms. Haikal
Radiographers
Binti Awang
at the
if
forefront in optimizing CT exposure
Assalamualaikum and good
and
morning,
image
everyone.
quality. To
Good
explore
morning for
critical
esteemed guests,
advancement and best
respected
practices
speakers,
in
and
CT imaging,
participants joining us
ensuring
from
both
across Asia.
optimal image quality
Welcome to
and patient safety.
47th
I'm
CPD
TS
Asia
Faika
program,
Binti Awang and
organized by the
Ismail, and
Malaysian
I'm honored
Societies
to
of
be your
Radiographers.
moderator for
Today,
today's
we
session.
convene
We
under
have
the
a
theme
distinguished lineup
Radiographers
of
at the
experts
forefront
who will
in
share
optimizing
their
CT
knowledge and
exposure and
experiences.
image
We
quality.
encourage you to
To
actively
explore
participate,
critical
engage in
advancement
discussion,
and best
and take away
practices in
valuable
CT imaging,
insights.
ensuring
Before
both
we begin,
optimal
please
image
take notes
quality
of
and
the
patient
following.
safety.
Please turn off and mute your microphone. Each speaker session will last for 45 minutes to 1 hour. A panel discussion and Q&A session will be held after all presentations. If you have questions, please submit them via the chat box, and they will be addressed during the Q&A session, and you may indicate to whom the question being addressed, and it will be directed to the particular speakers. There will be a photo session after the Q&A. Thus, the participant will be encouraged to turn on their camera for the session. So, let me first invite our first speaker. Our first speaker is Dr. Nur Azura Muhammad, a highly accomplished radiography educator and researcher specializing in biomedical imaging, medical physics, and radiation dosimetry. She is currently serving as a senior radiography educator at the College of Health Sciences Rizky Malaya Medical Center, and Dr. Nur Azura holds a PhD in Applied Physics from University Putra Malaysia UPM, a Master of Science in Radiation and Nuclear Safety from University Kebangsaan Malaysia UPM, and a bachelor degree in diagnostic imaging and radiography from UPM. Her recent achievement includes winning the University Putra Malaysia Graduate Journal Paper Publication Award for 2 consecutive years, which is 2020 and 2021. Her research focus on radiation dose optimization, image quality assessment, and pediatric CT dose evaluation. Her session today is on principles of CT imaging and radiation exposure, where she will discuss the fundamentals of CT technologies and strategies for minimizing radiation dose. Please welcome Dr. Nur Azura Muhammad.
Thank you to Ms. Aika as our MC today.
Image quality assessment, and pediatric CT dose evaluation. Her session today is on principles of CT imaging and radiation exposure, where she will discuss the fundamentals of CT
good morning,
technologies
everyone.
and strategies for minimizing
So first of all,
radiation
thank
dose.
you very
Please
much
welcome
to
Dr. Nur
MSR for
Azura
having
Muhammad.
me. And I am really
Thank you
grateful
to Ms.
for
Aika
this
as our MC
opportunity
today.
to be part of
And I
this
share my
event and
slide
also
first.
to share about basic principle of CT scan with all of you. And it's a pleasure to be here. Okay. So
Hello, good morning, everyone.
title of presentation today
So
is
first of
about
all,
the
thank you very
I
much
need
to
move this one.
MSR for having me.
It's about the
And
principle
I
of
am
CT
really
imaging and
grateful
radiation
for this
exposure.
opportunity to be part of this event and also to
Okay, so
share
this is my presentation
about
outline
basic
today. So I
principle
start with
of
the
CT
introduction
scan
to CT scanning,
with all of
and
you,
then
and
followed
it's a
by
pleasure
basic principle of
to be here.
CT system component, CT image,
So
and last
my
is a radiation dose
title
in
of
CT.
presentation today is about the
Okay, so let's start, everyone. Okay, so this
it's
image
about the principle of
tell
CT
the
imaging
story
and
of
radiation
how CT scan
exposure.
evolved from a slow single slice
Okay,
system
so
in
this is my presentation
1973
outline
to
today.
today's
So I'll start with the
lightning
introduction
fast,
to CT
high
scanning,
resolution
and
imaging.
then followed by
So it
basic
started with the
principle of
machine that
CT,
took
CT
almost
system
5
component,
minutes
CT image, and last is
just
a
only
radiation
for one
dose in
slice.
CT.
And as we know,
Okay, so
the
let's
CT
start,
scanner
everyone.
was invented
Okay, so
by
this image
by Sir
tell the
Godfrey
story of
Hounsfield at
how CT
EMI,
scan
so the
evolved
same
from
famous
a
company
slow
for the
single slice
Beatles.
system in
Okay, and then the evolution
1973 to
of the
today's
CT happened.
lightning
So
fast,
in
high resolution
1980s,
imaging. So
CT
it started with a
scan
machine that took almost
was
5
created
minutes
by rotate the faster
just
cutting
only for
scan
one
from
slice.
minute to
And
second.
as we know,
Okay, and then
the CT
1990,
scanner
the
was
technology of the
invented by
CT brought helical
by
scanning,
Sir
where the
Godfrey
machine
Hounsfield at
spin
EMI, so the
continuously,
same famous
making
company for the
imaging even
Beatles.
quicker.
Okay, and then the
And then
evolution
fast
of
forward to
the
today,
CT
we have
happened. So in
multi-slice CT. So
1980s,
this technology
CT
capture
scan
thousands of slices per
was
second, and
created
also
by rotate the faster
can create
cutting
the
scan
detailed 3D
from
images
minute to
of the human
second.
body.
Okay, and then
Okay, so this
1990, the
revolution has
technology
made
of the
CT scan
CT
as a game changer in medicine,
the machine
and also helping doctors to diagnose the trauma, heart condition, cancer, and more with the incredible precision.
So this technology capture
Alright.
thousands of slides per
So
second
CT scan
and also
has evolved
can
through
create the detailed 3D images of the human
5
body.
generations. So each
Okay, so this
improving
revolution has made CT
the
scan
speed
as
and
a game
also in
changer
terms of
in
the
medicine
image quality.
and
So
also
let's have a look
helping
from the
doctors
first
to
generation.
diagnose the trauma,
Okay, so first generation,
heart
it
condition,
used a
cancer,
pencil
and more
beam
with the incredible
X-ray and a
precision.
single detector
Alright.
that translate and
So CT
rotate in
scan
small
has evolved
increments. So
through
making scan very slow. So that's why one
5
slice
generations.
it
So
takes
each
almost 5
improving
minutes. Okay, so
the
for the
speed
first
and also in
Sir
terms of the
Godfrey
image
do the
quality.
test
So
for the
let's have a
CT
look
brain.
from
So the
the
full
first
procedure,
generation.
it just
Okay,
for
so
the
first
5
generation,
slices, it takes
it
almost
used
30
a
minutes.
pencil beam
Okay, and then move
X-ray
to the
and a single
second
detector
generation.
that
So in this
translate
generation,
and
it
rotate
introduced
in
a fan
small
beam and a
increments.
detector
So
array,
making scan
and
very
then
slow. So
reduce
that's
the
why
scan
one
time
slice is
with
take
fewer
almost 5
rotations.
minutes.
And
Okay,
then
for
followed
the
by the
first
third generation,
Sir Godfrey
featured a
do the test
rotating
for
fan
the CT
beam
brain. So the
and
whole
detector
procedure,
array and
it just for
reducing
the
scan
5
time with a
slices, it
fewer
take almost
rotation.
30 minutes.
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
And then
move
rotating
to
curve
the
detector
second generation.
array and enabling
So
faster
in this
through
generation, it
360
introduced a fan
rotation.
beam and
Okay,
a
and then
detector array, and then
in
reduce
fourth
the scan
generation,
time
they keep
with
rotating X-ray
fewer
tube, but
rotations,
use
and then
stationary full
followed
circular
by the third
detector
generation,
array and speed
featured
up
a rotating
the
fan beam
time. Okay, and then the
detector array
latest
and reducing scan time with a fewer
generation, for the fifth
rotation.
generation,
Oh, sorry.
they
And then
start to
rotating
introduce the
curve
electron
detector
beam CT
array and
with no
enabling
moving
faster
part,
full
using an electron
360
beam to
rotation.
strike a stationary
Okay, and then,
target and enabling
in fourth
ultra-fast
generation,
imaging,
they keep
especially for the
rotating X-ray tube,
CTA,
but use stationary
for
full
the cardiac
circular
studies.
detector array and speed up
Okay,
the
so the
time.
basic principle
Okay, and
of the
then the
CT.
latest generation, for the fifth generation,
So
they start to
CT
introduce the
scan
electron
actually work
beam
in a four
CT
simple
with
step.
no moving
First,
part, using an electron
an
beam
X-ray
to
tube
strike a
rotates
stationary
around the
target and
patient and
enabling
shooting out
ultra-fast
a
imaging,
thin fan
especially
shaped beam
for
of
the
X-ray.
CTA,
And then this ray
for the cardiac
pass through the
studies.
body and are captured by the detector on the
Okay,
other
so the
side,
basic
so which
principle of the
measure
CT.
how much of the radiation is absorbed by tissue. So this event we call the attenuation.
CT scan actually work in a
Where the
four simple
different
step.
tissue in a
First,
human body, like a bone,
an X-ray
muscle,
tube
fat,
rotates
hair,
around the
it will
patient
absorb
and shooting out
X-ray
a thin
differently, and
fan-shaped beam
also
of
they will create
X-rays.
in
And then
their
this
own
ray
variation
pass through the
of
body and are captured
intensity.
by the detector on the other
Alright.
side, so which
And then
measure how much of
the
the
basic
radiation is
principle
absorbed
behind the CT is that
by
the
tissue.
internal
So
structure
this
of an
event we
object
call
can be
the
reconstructed from
attenuation.
multiple projections of the
Where the
object.
different
Okay,
tissue
so
in a human
how
body,
CT
like a
scanner
bone,
takes raw
muscle,
X-ray
fat,
data
hair,
and turn
it
it
will absorb
into detailed
X-ray
images. When a
differently, and
patient
also
is
they will
scanned,
create in
X-ray
their own
pass through their
variation
body and detect as
intensity.
attenuation measurements,
Right.
so which are
And then
converted into digital
the basic
signal. From
principle
the
behind the
electrical
CT is
signal,
that
we
the internal
convert
structure
to
of an
the
object can be reconstructed from
digital
multiple
signals.
projections
So
of
these
the
signals are
object.
sent
Okay,
to a
so
computer to
how
process
CT
them.
scanner
So
takes
actually,
raw X-ray data and turn
for
it
the image
into
formation,
detailed
it will start
images.
with the
When a
pre-processing and raw
patient
data
is
collection,
scanned,
then
X-ray
convolution and
pass through their
filtering to
body
help
and
enhance
detect
important
as attenuation
details, followed
measurements,
by back
so which are
projection,
converted
which
into digital
reconstruct the image slice
signal. From the
by
electrical
slice.
signal, they will convert
Okay, so
to
the
the
final result is a
digital
numerical CT
signals.
image that
So
can
these
be
signals are
displayed on
sent
the
to a
screen
computer
and
to
stored in a
process them.
pad.
So
So
actually,
it's a
for the
step-by-step
image
journey from
formation,
scanning
it
to
will
image
start with the
creation,
pre-processing
also
and
all
raw data
guided by
collection,
the
then
both
convolution
hardware
and
and also the
filtering
smart
to help
software in the
enhance
CT.
important
So which is this
details,
is part
followed
of the
by back
CT
projection,
component. So
which
before I go further
reconstruct
to
the image
the
slice by
image
slice.
formation, just
Okay, so the final result is
see
a numerical CT
the
image that
CT
can be
components.
displayed on a screen and stored in a pad. So
Whereas the
it's
CT
a
components actually they
step-by-step
work
journey from
together
scanning
to
to image
capture and
creation,
process
also all
cross-sectional
guided by the
of the
both
body. So the
hardware
main
and
part
also the
is
smart software
consists
in
of
a
the
CT.
X-ray tube
So which is
to
this is a part
generate
of the CT
X-rays,
component. So
and
before I
then
go further
the
to the
collimator to
image
share and restrict X-ray beam
See,
And then the
the
detector,
CT components,
the crucial part of the CT
Okay.
component to capture
well,
and
the CT
transmit
components actually they work
X-ray and
together
convert
to
them into
capture and
signals.
process
Okay, and then
cross-sectional
gantry is
of the body.
houses a
So the
rotated
main part
X-ray
is
and detector.
consists of the
And then
X-ray
also we
tube
have the high
to
voltage
generate
generator to supply
X-rays,
power to X-ray
and
tube.
then the
And then the
collimator
slip rings
to
to
shape and
enable
restrict
continuous rotation for
X-ray
fast
beam.
scanning. And also patient table, move the patient with a
And then the
position
detector,
together with
the
the
crucial part of the
X-ray tube.
CT component
Okay,
to
and then
capture and transmit
data acquisition
X-ray
system,
and
which
convert them into
also
signals.
the important
Okay, and then
system to
gantry
convert the
is
analog
houses
signal to
a
the
rotated
digital
X-ray and
data.
detectors.
And then
And
reconstruction
then also we have
computer
the
to
high
process the
voltage
raw
generator to
data into
supply power
image.
to X-ray tube.
And of course,
And
we
then
need
the
to
slip
have the
rings to
control
enable
operator
continuous
console
rotation
as a
for fast
control
scanning.
panel
And
before
also
and after
patient
processing,
table,
where
move
we
the
can
patient with
adjust the
position
CT
together
parameter
with
here,
the
and also for the
X-ray tube.
after
Okay,
do the
and then
procedure. So
data
and
acquisition
also for
system,
the
which
image
also the
viewing.
important
Okay,
system to
and then
convert the analog signal to the
CT
digital
components also
data.
linked
And then
together with
reconstruction
the
computer
PACS,
to process the raw
picture
data
archiving
into
computer
image.
system to
And
store
of
and
course,
share
we need to
image
have the
electronically.
control operator console as a
Alright.
control panel.
So this is
Before
the
and after
internal
processing, where
components of the
we can
gantry.
adjust the
Okay,
CT
here is
parameter
X-ray
here, and also
tube,
for the after
and then this
do
is
the procedure.
filters,
So we, and
collimator,
also for
X-ray
the
tube heat
image
exchanger,
viewing. Okay,
and
and then
then high voltage
CT
generator.
components also linked together
This is
with
the
the
direct drive
PACS,
gantry
picture
motor,
archiving computer
and then
system to
rotation
store and
control
share
unit.
image electronically.
This one is a DAS,
Alright.
data
So
acquisition
this is
system that
the
connect with the
internal
computer,
components of the gantry.
and detector
Okay,
here,
here is
slip
a
ring,
X-ray tube,
and detector
and then
temperature,
this is
high
filters,
voltage generator, and
collimators,
also
X-ray
this one
tube
is a
heat
power unit.
exchanger, and then
Okay, so
high
I
voltage
want to highlight
generator.
the
This
important
is a
part
direct drive
to
gantry
for
motor,
the
and
image
then rotation
formation
control
is a
unit.
detector. Okay,
This
so
one
for
is
the
a DAS,
CT actually we have
data
two
acquisition
types
system
of the
that connect with the
detector.
computer,
First is a
and
xenon
detector
gas
here,
detector,
slip
and
ring,
second is a solid state
and detector
crystal detector.
temperature,
So let's have it one
high
by
voltage
one.
generator,
Alright,
and
so for
also
the
this one
xenon
is
gas
a power
detector,
unit.
the principle, the
Okay,
xenon gas
so
is
I want
enclosed
to
in detector
highlight
chambers,
the
and then
important
the
part
X-ray
to
ionize the gas
for
to produce
the
an
image
electrical
formation
current, and the
is
amount
a
of ionization
detector.
is
Okay, so for
proportional
the
to the
CT,
X-ray
actually,
intensity.
we
So
have two types of the
this
detector.
image shows
First
the
is a
X-ray
xenon
photon.
gas detector,
We
and
enter
second
the
is a
detector,
solid
and
state
inside the
crystal
detector
detector. So let's
is
have
a
it
xenon
one by
gas. So
one.
when X-ray
Alright, so
hit
for
the
the xenon gas
gas,
detector,
they
the
ionize, and
principle,
it will
the
kick
xenon
the
gas is
electron
enclosed in detector
out, and then
chambers,
the
and then
electron
the
move
X-ray
toward the anodes,
ionize
and
the
the
gas to
positive ion
produce an
move
electrical
toward the
current, and the
cathode.
amount
So
of
this
ionization
movement
is
create an electrical
proportional to the
signal
X-ray
which tell the
intensity.
system
So
how much
this
X-ray
image
hit the
shows the
detector.
X-ray
And the
photon.
advantage of this
We
type
enter the
of detector
detector, and inside the
is a high
detector
stability and
is a xenon gas. So when
durability, less
X-ray hit the
afterglow,
gas,
and faster
they
in
ionize,
response,
and it will
and then
kick the
less scatter
electron
radiation
out,
due to
and then
directional
the
sensitivity.
electron move toward the anodes, and the positive
But
ion move
the
toward the
disadvantage is
cathode. So
very
this
low
movement
detection
create an
efficiency,
electrical
is just
signal
about
which
50 to
tell the system
60%. So cannot
how
be used
much
in
X-ray
multi-row
hit the
detector, so very
detector.
limited to the single
And the
slide, just
advantage of
limited to the
this
single slide
type
CT,
of
and
detector
require high
is a
pressure
high
gas
stability and
chamber. So that's why
durability, less
this type of detector
afterglow, and
just
faster
only
in
used in the
response,
early single slide CT
and then
scanner, and
less
no
scatter radiation due to
no longer
directional
common use
sensitivity.
in modern CT system.
But the disadvantage is
Alright, so we
very
move
low
to the
detection
second
efficiency. It's just about
detector. It's
50
a
to
solid state
60%.
crystal
So
detector.
cannot be used
So the
in
principle
multi-row
is
detector. So very
X-ray
limited to the single slide,
strike
just limited to the single slide
scintillator
CT, and
material,
require high pressure
which
gas
convert
chamber.
them
So
into the
that's
visible
why
light,
this type of
and then the
detector just
photodiode
only
detect
used
this
in the
light
early
and
single
convert
slide
it
CT scanner,
into an
and
electrical signal. So the intensity of the
no
signal
longer
correspond
common
to the
use
X-ray
in
attenuation.
modern CT
Okay, so the
system.
detector elements here
Alright, so we
can
move to the
detect the X-ray
second
that pass through the
detector. It's a
patient,
solid state crystal
and this
detector.
circuit
So the
board
principle is a
is
X-ray
where the detector
strike
elements are mounted,
scintillator
and it will process
material
the electrical signal
which
from the
convert them into the
photodiode.
visible light,
Alright,
and then the
so the
photodiode
advantage of
detect
this
this light
detector is high detection efficiency, is almost 99%, and also lower dose required, and work with the multi-row detector array used in multi-slice and cone beam CT. and faster response suitable for helical and dynamic scanning. But they also have that disadvantage, and slight afterglow residual light signal and more sensitive to temperature changes. Okay, so this type of detector are used in a modern multi-site CT scanner nowadays, and also used in a cone-based CT, and also for the spectral CT. Okay, so this is the common scintillator material used today. Consists of the gadolinium oxysulfide. The characteristic is a high X-ray absorption and used in a low dose system. And then second is a cadmium tungstate, high detection efficiency and low afterglow. And last is a ceramic based detector. This one is high durability and used in the latest multi-CT.
Common scintillator material.
Okay, so next, we move to the image formation, which is this part is a crucial part actually for the CT. And then in this part, we touch about the data acquisition system, and then the dust method. We have about 3 to 4 methods, and image reconstruction and also image
This one is high
display.
durability and used in the latest multi-CT.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so
So next,
data
we move to
acquisition
the image
system in
formation,
CT,
which is this
it's like
part
the
is a
scanner
crucial part actually
translator,
for the CT.
where
And then in this
that
part,
turns X-ray
we will
as a
touch about
signal into the data computer
data
that can
acquisition
understand.
system. And
So
then
when
the
X-ray
dust
pass through the
method,
body,
we have
they
about 3 to
hit the
4
detector
method
that generate
and
tiny
image
electrical
reconstruction
signal.
and also
So
image
the
display.
dust take this signal and amplifies them and
Alright.
cleans them up
Okay, so
and convert
data
from the
acquisition system in
analog
CT
or
is
continuous
like the
signal into the
scanner's
digital
translator,
data,
where
from the continuous signal
that
into the
turns X-ray
numbers. Okay, so
signal
this
into the
digital
data
data
computer
is then sent to the
that can
CT computer
understand.
for
So
image
when X-ray
processing.
pass through the body,
Okay, so in short, we
they
can say
hit
that
the
dust
detector
plays
that
a
generate
crucial
tiny
role in
electrical signal.
capturing,
So the
processing,
dust
and
take this
transferring
signal and
accurate
amplifies them
information
and cleans
quickly
them up
and
and convert
efficiently, so
from
that
the
high quality
analog
CT image can be
or
formed.
continuous signal into the
All right,
digital
and then
data.
we move to
From the
the
continuous signal
data
into
acquisition
the
method. They
numbers.
have a 4
Okay, so
method.
this digital data
First
is
is
then sent to the
axial
CT computer
scanning,
for image
stack
processing.
and shoot.
Okay, so in
So
short, we can say
this
that dust
method,
plays a
thinking
crucial
like
role in
taking a
capturing,
photo and moving a
processing,
bit,
and
then taking
transferring
another photo.
accurate
So the machine
information
scan
quickly
one
and
slice, stop, then
efficiently so
move
that
and scan
high
again.
quality CT
So it's
image can be
slower but give a
formed.
precise image.
All right, and then
Okay,
we
and
move
then
to
the
the
next method
data
is a
acquisition method.
helical
They have a 4
or
method.
spiral scanning.
First is
So
a
here
axial
the
scanning,
patient move
stack
continuously
and shoot. So
through the
this
scanner, and then
method
the X-ray
thinking
tube
like
will spin
taking a
around them.
photo and
So
moving a
they
bit, then taking
this
another
will
photo.
create
So the machine
a
scan
spiral path,
one
a spiral
slice,
path
stop,
like
then move
slicing a
and
spiral
scan
ham,
again. So
and
it's
faster
slower
than,
but give a
of course, the
precise
faster than
image.
step and shoot.
Okay, and then the
And
next
also this method
is a
are good for
helical
the 3D
or spiral
images.
scanning. So here
Okay,
the
and then next
patient
is
moves
a
continuously
multi-slice CT. This is like a
through
helical
the scanner,
scanning,
and then
but
the
with a
X-ray
multiple
tube
rows of
will
cameras,
spin around them.
and it
So
captures
they,
many slides at
this
once,
will
so it
create
super
a
fast
spiral
and give
path
more
or a
detail
spiral path like
in terms of
slicing a spiral
images,
ham,
and
and
it's
faster
great for
than,
emergency
of course,
scan
the
or
faster
detail
than
organ
step and shoot.
imaging. Okay,
And
and then the
also
latest
this
one is
method
a
are good for
CBCT,
the
cone
3D
beam CT.
images.
Okay, this one is
Okay, and then
used
next is
mostly
a
for dental,
multi-slice
face,
CT.
and
This
head
is like a
scan.
helical
So this
scanning
machine
with,
send out a
with a
cone-shaped
multiple
X-ray
rows
beam
of cameras,
and
and it
capture
captures many
images
slides
in
at
one
once.
spin.
So
So these
it's
are processed
super
into
fast and
3D
give more
image
detail
of the patient
in
head
terms of the images,
and teeth
and
especially.
it's great for
All
emergency
right.
scan or detail
So
organ
the next
imaging.
is
Okay, and then the latest one is
the net
a
process for the image
CBCT, cone
formation
beam
is
CT.
image
Okay, this
reconstruction.
one is
Okay, so
used
image
mostly
reconstruction in
for
CT is the
dental, face, and
process
head
of turning
scan.
the
So
raw
this
X-ray
machine send out
data
a cone-shaped
collected by
X-ray
the CT
beam
scanner
and capture
into the
many
detailed
image
image
in one
we see
spin.
on
So
the
these are
screen.
processed into
So
3D image
there are three
of
major
the patient
classes
head
of the
and
reconstruction
teeth
algorithm. Okay,
especially.
first we call
All right.
analytical
So the next
algorithm,
is
or also we call the
the
filter
net
back
process for the image
projection.
formation is
Okay,
image
so
reconstruction. Okay, so
this
image
type
reconstruction in
is
CT
thing
is
like
the process
projecting
of
shadows
turning
from
the raw
different
X-ray
angle
data
and
collected
combining
by the
them
CT
to see the
scanner
full picture
into the detail
and
image
it
we see
fast
on the
and commonly
screen.
used,
So there are three
but
major
can make
classes of
image
the
look
reconstruction algorithm.
grainy
Okay,
or
first we
noisy,
call
the advantages,
analytical
especially with a low
algorithm,
dose
or
scan.
also we call the filter back
Okay, this method actually no
projections.
fancy
Okay,
trick
so
here. It's just a straight up
this type
mathematic.
is
The
thing like
analogical that
projecting
I can
shadows
say
from
is like
different
Google
angle
Translate.
and
If you want to
combining them
translate
to see the full
our
picture.
language
And it
for
fast
example,
and
from
commonly
Bahasa
used,
to the English and English
but
also, the
can
very
make
straightforward
image
mathematics
look
like that. Okay,
grainy or
and then
noisy. The
another
advantages,
reconstruction algorithm
especially
we call
with a low dose
analytic
scan. Okay, this
sorry,
method actually
hybrid
no fancy
algorithm
trick
is a
here.
statistical
It's just a
iterative
straight up
reconstruction. So
mathematic.
this one
The analogical
start
that
with
I
also
can
with the
say
raw
is
data
like
and then
Google
cleans it
Translate.
up
If
in
you
a
want to
steps
translate
and
our
removing noise and
language
improving
from,
clarity.
for example, from
It's like
Bahasa to the English and English
re-editing the
also, the very
photo
straightforward
using
mathematics like
filters
that.
again
Okay,
and again
and then
until it
another
looks
reconstruction
just
algorithm
right.
we call
Okay, this method still combine or
hybrid
mix with the
algorithm
old school
is a statistical
SDT filter
iterative
back projection with a
reconstruction.
smart
So this
correction.
one
That's why we call
start
it
with
hybrid.
also with the raw data
Okay.
and then cleans it up in the
Last is
steps
a iterative
and
algorithm,
removing noise and improving
model-based
clarity.
iterative reconstruction. So this
It's
is the
like
smartest and
re-editing
cleanest
the
way,
photo
and
using
it
filters
simulates
again
how
and
X-ray
again
should behave
until
using
it
a
looks
model.
just
Then
right.
keep adjusting the
Okay,
image until
this
everything matches
method
perfectly.
still
So think of it like
combine or mix
polishing
with
a
the old school
diamond. When we do the
FBP
polishing a
filter back
diamond
projection
slowly
with a
and
smart
carefully, but the
correction.
result are
That's what we
top
call the
notch,
hybrid.
especially for
Okay.
low dose scans. And
Last
best
is a
this
iterative
method best
algorithm,
for
a
detail and
model-based
clean
iterative
image, but takes more
reconstruction.
time.
So
And
this is the
of course,
smartest
we need
and
the
cleanest
computing
way,
power.
and it simulates
Okay.
how X-ray should behave using a model. Then
Okay, so
keep adjusting the image until everything matches
Langhouse-based
perfectly.
unit,
So think of
which
it
is
like
a
a
scale
polishing a
used
diamond. When we do
in
the polishing a
CT
diamond slowly and
to
carefully,
measure
but
how
the
dense
result
a
are
material is
top notch,
inside the
especially
body.
for low dose scans.
Okay.
And best this method best
So the
for
grayscale of the
detail
CT
and
image,
clean
where
image,
as
but
we know,
takes more
CT
time.
images
And
are not
of
in
course,
color but
we
shades of
need
the
the
gray. So
computing
every
power.
structures get their
Okay.
own Hounsfield unit or CT number.
Okay, so
For example, air,
then
the
Hounsfield's
value
unit,
of the CT number
which is a scale
negative
used in CT
1000.
to measure how
This is
dense a
because
material is
it
inside
absorbs
the
little
body.
X-ray, so it can see black
So the grayscale of the
in
CT
the
image, where as
image.
we know, CT
And then
images
for the
are not in
water,
color but shades of the
zero,
gray. So every
the value is
structures get
tissue
their
is a
own
zero and
Hounsfield
looks
unit
gray
or CT
because
number. Okay, for example,
this
air,
tissue absorbs
the
moderate
value of the
X-ray.
CT number
And then for the bone
is
tissue,
negative
the value is
1000. This is
plus
because it
1000,
absorbs little X-ray, so it
and
can
usually
see
we can see
black
white because they absorb lots of the
in the
X-ray. So knowing Hounsfield
image.
value
And
can
then for
help
the
the doctors
water,
to identify
zero,
the
the
different
value
tissue and also diagnose
is a
disease and
zero
detect
and
abnormality.
looks gray
So this is
because
the scale
this tissue
window
absorb
from
moderate
the
X-ray. And then
in
for
a
the
human
bone
body, in a
tissue,
tissue,
the value is
for the tissue in a human body.
plus
So the air,
1000.
lung, fat, water masses of this. So they
Usually
have
we
their
can
own
see white
CT
because they
CT
absorb
numbers.
lots of the X-ray. So knowing Hounsfield value can help
Okay,
the
so last
doctors
for
to
the
identify
image display is
the different tissue
for the
and
image
also diagnose
formation is
disease
an
and
image
detect abnormality.
display.
So this is the
Okay, so after a CT
scale
scan is
window
acquired, so the
from
image
the
display process
in a
is
human
crucial
body, in the
for
tissue for the tissue in
interpreting
a
the
human
image
body.
accurately.
So the air,
Okay, so the CT
lung,
image display on
fat, water
computer
masses of
monitor
this.
for
So they have their own
interpretation. So
CT
radiologists can
numbers.
adjust during the image display. Radiologists, doctors or
Okay,
physicists
so
can
last for
adjust the window
image
width
display is
to adjust the
for
contrast
the
of the
image
image
formation is an
and
image
also window
display.
level for
Okay,
the
so
brightness
after a CT
and
scan
also,
is
and
acquired,
to
so
enhance the
image display process is
visualization of
crucial for
specific
interpreting
issues.
the
Okay,
image
so during image
accurately.
display also,
Okay,
image
so
can
the
be
CT
viewed
image
in
display on computer
axial,
monitor for
sagittal, or coronal
interpretation. So
plane or
radiologists
reconstruct
can
in
adjust during the
3D.
image display.
Okay, so
Radiologists,
CT image
doctors or
display
physicists can
involves
adjust
adjusting window
the window
setting
width
and
to
using
adjust the contrast
reconstruction
of the
technique to
image and
optimize
also window
visualization
level for
of
the
anatomical
brightness
structures
and to
aiding
enhance the
in accurate diagnosis without
visualization of
affecting
specific
radiation dose. So this
tissues.
is the parameter that I
Okay,
already
so
mentioned
during
just
image
now.
display also,
Okay, so
image
this
can
is
be
the
viewed
example
in
of the window setting.
axial,
So
sagittal, or
for
coronal
the
plane or reconstruct
different
in
scan type,
3D.
So they have
Okay, so city image display
the
involve
reference of the
adjusting window
window
setting
level and window
and using
width.
reconstruction technique
This is the
to
roughly
optimize
the setting
visualization
of the
of
window
anatomical
level and
structure
window width
and
that
aiding
that
in accurate diagnosis
radiologists
without
use
affecting
during
radiation dose. So this is the
this speeder,
parameter that I
the
already
image of the
mentioned just
city.
now. Okay, so this is the
Okay,
example of the Windows 18.
last part
So
of my
for
presentation
the
is
different
radiation
scan
dose
type, so they have
in city.
the reference of the window level
So
and
radiation
window
dose in
width. So
city
this is
consists of
roughly
the city dose
setting
index,
of the
dose
window
lamp,
level and window
dose
width
lamp product DLP,
that are
effective dose,
radiologists use
and
during
SSTE, size specific dose
the
estimate.
image of the city.
Okay, so for the CTDI
Okay,
volume,
last part of my
measure radiation
presentation
dose per
is
slice,
radiation dose
and the unit is
CT.
in milligray. Also, this CT metric,
So radiation dose in CT
standardized dose
consists
measure
of
per
the
scan
CT dose
protocol,
index,
and also
dose
for the
lamp
DLP,
dose
the
lamp product
total
DLP,
dose over the
effective
scan
dose,
length. So
and
the unit is
SSTE,
milligray
size
times
specific dose estimate.
cm, because due to
Okay, so
the
for the CTDI
long axis
volume,
of Z axis
measure
of the
radiation dose
patient.
per slice,
So that one will
and
use
the
to
unit is
estimate the
in
total
milligray.
radiation
Also,
burden,
this
and effective
CT
dose
metric
is considered
standardized dose
tissue
measure per
sensitivity
scan
to radiation.
protocol,
So we measure in a
and
millisievert
also for the
and
DLP,
compare
so the
with across
total
different
dose
imaging
over the
exams.
scan length. So
And
the unit
SSDE
is
by
milligray
adjusting the
times
CTDI
cm,
volume,
because
and
due
it's
to
based on the
the
patient size.
long axis
So
of
in
Z
milligray, so this one is
axis
more
of the
accurate
patient. So that
dose
one
for
will use
pediatric
to
and
estimate
obese
the total radiation
patients.
burden.
Okay,
And
so
effective
let's
dose
have a look one by one
is considered
how
tissue
this
sensitivity to
metric
radiation. So
radiation
measure
dose
in a
in CT will
millisievert
measure.
and compare with
Okay,
across
so
different imaging
CTDI
exams.
volume.
And SSDE by adjusting the
So
CTDI
CTDI volume,
volume
starting with
and
the
based on the
CTDI
patient
weighted
size. So
and
in
defined
milligray,
by
so this one is
1/3
more
of
accurate
CTDI center plus 2/3
dose
of
for
CTDI
pediatric and
peripheral.
obese
So how we get this
patients. Okay,
value,
so
CTDI
let's have a
weighted
look
value
one by
from
one
this event.
how
Okay, where
this metric
we use the
radiation dose in CT
PMMA
will
phantom.
measure.
That 130
Okay, so
cm is for the body,
volume.
and this one,
Okay.
this size 60
So CTDI
cm is for the
volume
head.
starting with the
But
CTDI
this
weighted and defined by
60 cm
1/3 of
of MA
CTDI
phantom
center
also
plus
can be
2/3
used
of
for
CTDI
the pediatric
peripheral. So
body.
how we get this
Okay, so by
value,
inserting
CTDI weighted
the
value
patient
from this
chamber
event.
at the
Okay, where
peripheral hole and
we
center
use the
hole, so
PMMA
we can
phantom.
get the
That
result
130
of the
cm
CTDI
is for the
weighted. So the
body,
volume,
and this
the
one,
CTDI volume
this
is
size
defined
16 cm is
by
for the head.
CTDI weighted
But this
divided by the pitch. Pitch is the ratio as a
60
table,
cm of MA
table
phantom
feet
also can be
per
used for the
360
pediatric body.
degree gantry
Okay, so by
rotation to the
inserting
nominal
the
collimated
patient
relief.
chamber
So we can get the
at
result
the
of the
peripheral hole
CTDI
and center hole,
volume.
so we can get
Okay, and
the
then
result of the
from the
CTDI
CTDI
weighted. So
volume,
the volume, the
times
CTDI
with the
volume is
length of the
defined
scan
by
range,
CTDI
so we get
weighted
the
divided by the
DLP
pitch. Pitch is the
result.
ratio as the table feet
Okay.
per
And then how
360
we calculate
degree
the
gantry
effective dose?
rotation to the
Okay, so
nominal
effective dose,
collimated beamwidth.
DLP
So we can get
times
the result of the CTDI
coefficient
volume.
factor. This one
Okay,
based
and
on the
then
anatomy and
from the
age. So this
CTDI
is the
volume,
example that I
times
get
with
from
the
the
length
previous
of the
study.
scan range. So
The
we get
coefficient factor
the DLP
based on the
result.
body region, head, neck, chest, abdomen,
Okay.
and pelvis.
And then how
Okay,
we
so
calculate the effective
DLP
dose.
times the coefficient factor, so
Okay,
we
so
can get
effective
the
dose,
effective dose.
uh,
Okay, so the connection between
DLP
absorbed
times
dose
the
and effective dose, where
coefficient
absorbed dose is about
factor.
the
This one based on the
energy
anatomy and age.
deposited
So
in
this is the
tissue,
example
and then
that
effective
I
dose
get
is
from the
about
previous study.
overall biological
coefficient
risk,
factor
accounting for where the
based on the
dose
body
is
region,
absorbed. So
head,
both are
neck, chest,
related, but
abdomen, and
effective dose help
pelvis.
us
Okay,
to
so
assess
the
the
LP
patient
times the
risk
coefficient
and
factor,
also
so
to
we can
guide
get the
the radiation protection
effective
and
dose.
safety.
Okay, so the
Okay,
connection between
the
absorbed
next is a
dose and effective
SSDE,
dose,
size
where
specific
absorbed
dose
dose is about
estimate.
the energy
Okay, so
deposited
SSDE
in
is a
tissue,
method used
and
to
then
provide
effective
more
dose is
accurate
about
estimation
overall
of the radiation
biological
dose
risk, accounting for
a
where
patient
the
receive during a
dose
CT
is
scan
absorbed. So both
by
are
adjusting the
related, but
standard dose
effective dose
based on
help
the patient body
us
size.
to
So
assess
how we
the
calculate?
patient risk
So this
and
one
also
we
to
can get
guide
from the
radiation protection and
commercial factor from the
safety.
AAPM report.
Okay.
And
The
times with
next is
the
a
CTDI
SSDE,
volume that we can get
size
from the
specific
CT
dose estimate.
console. Okay, so before
Okay,
how
so
to get this
SSDE is
value,
a
so
method used
we
to
need to
provide more
calculate
accurate
the effective
estimation
diameter of the patient
of the
first.
radiation
So
dose
by get the
a
lateral
patient
LAP,
received during a CT scan
diameter of the
by
patient,
adjusting
so
the
we get
standard
the
dose
effective
based
diameter
on the
value.
patient body
So
size. So
the
how we
effective diameter
calculate?
value,
So this one we can get
found
from
the
the
conversion factor from the value that we
AAPM
get,
report,
and then we times the
and times with the
CTDI
CTDI volume
volume,
that
so
we
we
can get from the
get
CT console.
the
Okay, so
result of the
before how to get this
SSDE.
value, so we need
So,
to calculate the effective
SSDE
diameter of the patient
is
first. So
famous
by get
nowadays
the
among the
lateral
researcher
NAP,
among the researcher because
diameter of the
this
patient, so
value
we get the
is
effective
adjusted
diameter
radiation dose
value.
estimate
So
in CT scan and
the
also
effective diameter value,
offering more
we
accurate dose
found the
assessment than CTDI
conversion
volume,
factor from the
especially
value that we get, and then
important
we
in dose
times the
optimization and also for the
CTDI
patient
volume, so we can get
protection.
the result of the
Okay.
SSDE.
I think that's all
So,
from me. Just a basic
SSDE
principle and radiation
is
dose and very
famous
basic.
nowadays among
I
the
didn't
researcher,
explain more because
this
I feel that
value
there's not
is
enough time
adjusted
if I
radiation dose
explain
estimate in
very
CT scan,
detailed.
and
I'm sure
also
all of us already know
offering
about this.
more accurate
The
dose
basic principle.
assessment
Just
than
want to
CTDI
refresh it
volume,
back.
especially
Okay, so I think
important in dose
I
optimization and also for the
go to the
patient
MC. So thank you very
protection.
much.
Okay. I think that's all from me.
Thank you, Dr. Nazra, for your informative
And
session.
very, very basic. I
Our
didn't
next speaker
explain more
is
because
Associate Professor Dr.
I feel
Muhammad
that there's not
Hanafi Ali,
enough time if I
a leading
explain
expert
very
in
detailed.
medical
I'm sure
imaging
all of us
science
already know
and
about this.
radiation dose
The basic principle,
assessment.
just
He
want to
is
refresh it back.
currently an
Okay,
associate
so I
professor
think
in medical
I
imaging at the
go
Faculty
to
of
the
Medicine,
MC. So
Lincoln
thank you very
University
much.
College, Petaling Jaya, Malaysia. Dr. Hanafi holds a doctorate in health
Thank you,
science,
Dr. Nazra, for
specializing
your
in computed
informative
tomography
session.
dosimetry from the
Our next
University of
speaker is Associate
Sydney,
Professor Dr.
a
Muhammad
Master of
Hanafi
Health
Ali,
Sciences
a
in
leading
Magnetic
expert
Resonance
in
Imaging
medical
MRI,
imaging science
and a
and
Bachelor's
radiation
degree
dose
in Medical
assessment.
Imaging Technology from
He is
Curtin University,
currently an
Australia.
associate professor in
Since
medical imaging at
1999,
the
he
Faculty
has
of
served as a
Medicine,
full-time
Lincoln
academician
University
at
College,
several
Petaling Jaya,
reputable
Malaysia.
institutions, including University
Dr.
Technology
Hanafi holds
Mara,
a doctorate
UiTM,
in health
the University
sciences,
of Sydney,
specializing in computed tomography
Huayuan
dosimetry
International University,
from the University
and
of
currently Lincoln
Sydney.
University College.
A Master
In
of
addition
Health
to his
Sciences in
full-time
Magnetic Resonance
roles,
Imaging
he has been
MRI
invited to
and a
deliver
bachelor degree in medical imaging
part-time
technology from
lectures
Curtin
at
University,
approximately
Australia.
6 universities
Since
across Malaysia.
1999, he has
He
served
has
as a
also been
full-time
appointed as
academician
adjunct
at several
lecturer at
reputable
Teesside University,
institutions,
United
including
Kingdom.
UC Technology
He
Mara,
has served as a
UITM,
deputy
the
dean
University of
for Student
Sydney,
Affairs at UiTM,
Huayuan
a technical
International
committee
University,
member for
and
Malaysian
currently
Radiation
Lincoln
Safety
University
Standards,
College.
and
In
editorial
addition to
board
his
members for
full-time roles,
International
he has been
Medical
invited to
Imaging Journal.
deliver
His research
part-time
focuses
lectures
on
at
exposure
approximately
index,
6
dose
universities
reference
across
level, and
Malaysia.
CT image
He has also
optimization.
been appointed as
Today,
adjunct
he will
lecturer
present
at Teesside
essentials
University,
of CT
United
image
Kingdom.
quality,
He has
parameters,
served as a
and
deputy
trade-off,
dean
where he
for
will
Student
explain
Affairs at
how
UiTM,
imaging
a
parameters
technical
influence
committee
image
members for
quality and
Malaysian
radiation
Radiation
dose.
Safety
Please
Standards,
welcome
and
Associate Professor
editorial board
Dr.
members for
Muhammad Hanafi
International
Ali.
Medical Imaging Journal. His research
Thank you
focused
very much.
on exposure index, dose reference level,
Yes,
and CT image
Faika Ismail,
optimization.
and
Today, he will
thank
present
you to
essentials
everybody
of CT
to
image
attending
quality,
this
parameters,
conference
and
webinar.
trade-off,
And
where he will
I would like
explain
to
how
thanks
imaging
also to
parameters
the
influence image
MSR
quality
as a
and
host of this
radiation dose.
event,
Please
and
welcome Associate Professor Dr.
give me
Muhammad
opportunity
Hanafi Ali.
to share my experience and knowledge in this
Thank
field.
you very much.
I'm really
Faika Ismail,
fortunate to get this
thank you to
time
everybody to attending this conference webinar.
to share with you
I would like
some of
to
my
thanks also to the
experience
MSR
and
as a host of this event.
whatever I
And,
have here to
give me opportunity
to the Asian,
share
the
my
broader
experience and knowledge in this field.
participants in the same
I'm really
topic that we discussed today.
Opportunity
just want to ask you, is
get
the
this
can you see my
time,
slide shared here?
Yes. To share with you some of my experience.
Okay, can you see that?
And whatever I have here to the Asian, the broader.
Thank you. My topic today is essential of city image quality.
That we discussed
we
today.
discussed about parameters
Just want
and
to ask you, is
trade-off of
can you see
how
my
we're going to
slide?
balance between quality and
Yeah.
radiation dose. Okay, and
Okay, can you see that?
this
My
is my
first slide.
CV. If you like to scan that, or you just
You can.
put your camera there,
Thank
and
you.
you can see my
topic today is essential of
information
city
there.
image quality. We discussed about parameters.
I'm going to
and
talk about three
trade-off
city
of
parameters:
how we
image
going to balance
quality,
between
and we have to consider
quality
that
and
as a part of
radiation
our
dose. Okay.
bread and butter.
And
Is for radiographers
this is my
doing
CV.
city
If you like
examinations,
to
and
scan that, or
we
you
must
just
also
put
know
your
how
camera
to
there, and you
adopt
can see
or
my
adapt
pocket
the new
information
technology
there.
to
I'm going to talk
adjust
about key
our
city parameters, image quality, and we have to
and
consider
patient
that
care,
as a part
and
of our
of course radiation
bread and
dose of the
butter.
patients.
Is for radiographers
Dr. Hanafi,
Yeah.
can you show
examinations,
your
and
slide with the
we must also
slide
know
presentation
how
mode,
to
please?
adopt
I already done that.
the
I think maybe I
new
use
technology
two
to
monitor here.
Maybe that's why we
adjust
only see the PowerPoint mode, not the
image
slideshow
quality
mode here.
and patient
Can you see
care.
that?
And
Okay,
of
now
course,
we see it.
radiation
Okay,
dose
thank you,
for the
Doctor.
patients.
All right.
Dr. Hanafi,
Yeah.
The first one.
can you show your slide
Please.
with the slide presentation mode, please?
Second.
I already done that. I think maybe I use two monitor here.
Maybe that's why we only see the PowerPoint mode, not the slideshow mode here.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Okay, now we see it. Okay, thank you, Doctor.
All right. Scan parameters, image quality in
That's
city.
the first one.
Actually, we have three main
This.
factors that related to CT scan.
Second.
The first factors is we call it as a primary factors, and secondary factors and other factors. This one is available everywhere in the journals, articles, or in the textbook. And for primary factors that normally radiographer can playing around
Scan parameters,
is
image
a tube current,
quality.
MA,
Actually,
tube
we have
voltage,
three main
and
factors
scan
that
time, pitch, and
related
scan
to CT
acquisition type.
The first
This is
factors
something
we
like
call it as
either
a
we doing
primary
axial
factors
or
and
helical.
secondary
That's
factors and other
we
factors.
talk,
This one is available
that's what
everywhere
does it mean
in
by
the journals, articles,
acquisition
or in
type.
the textbook.
And a secondary
for primary
factor, sometimes
factors
we're not
that normally
aware
radiographer
about
can
this, but we
playing
actually
around
deal with that
is a tube
in
current, MA,
every
tube
examination, such as
voltage,
SFOV,
and scan time,
DSOV,
pitch, and
beam
scan
collimations,
acquisition type. This is something like
reconstructed /
either
width,
we doing axial
reconstruction
or
interval.
helicals. That's a
This is something about
that's what does it mean by
the
acquisition
interval
type.
of that reconstruction. So
And a
that's free,
secondary factor, sometimes we're not aware about this, but we actually
get the
deal with
image
that
and
in
reconstruction
every
algorithm,
examination,
meaning
such
that
as
this one is a step-by-step what we normally do,
DSOV,
and actually
beam collimations,
we have a specific protocol for
reconstructed/width,
that.
reconstruction
And
interval.
once we have that
This is
two
something
factors,
about
then the other one is something
the
that
interval of
related to
reconstructions
patients
that
and
free,
equipment.
And
The first two,
or
patient size
after
and patient motions,
we get the image
we
and
can avoid that
reconstruction algorithm, meaning that this one is a
patient motion,
step-by-step
but
what
patient
we
size,
normally
of
do,
course,
and
we need
actually
to
it's we have
accept that, and
specific
we
protocol
have to
for that.
adjust the situation
And
with the parameters
once
that
we
we
have
have. Okay, and geometric and detector
the other one is
efficiency, of
something
course,
that
that's
related to
normally
patients
depend on
and
the machine
equipment.
that we use.
The first
So
two,
we need
patient
to know
size
from
and
the
patient
manual
motions,
how our machine
we
perform with
can avoid
related
that
to geometric in terms of
pitch and
the
motion,
focal
but patient
size,
size, of
the
course,
distance,
we need to
all these things, and
accept that, and we have
detector
to
type.
adjust the
Yeah,
situation
and
with the
of course,
parameters
the
that
last
we
but
have.
not least is
Okay, and
training and
geometric and
experience is
detector
very
efficiency,
important
of
in
course, that's a
CT scan examinations.
normally
As a
depend on
CT
the machine that we
radiographer.
use. So we need to know from the manual how
Just
our
go back to the
machine
basic
perform with
briefly.
related
We
to geometry
need to
in
know
terms
that
of the focal
KVP or
size, the
tube voltage
distance,
is
all
something
these
that
things, and
not
detectors type.
give us
Yeah,
really
and
room
of course,
for
the last but
playing
not least
around.
is
We only maybe
training and
3 or 4
experience is
steps
very
for CT
important
scan.
in
We just
CT
have
scan
that
examination
in certain
as
way
a
that
CT
we just look at the patient size, then we choose this and what examination that we are
Just go back to the
doing.
basic.
So, for
Briefly,
example, like
we
pediatric,
need
then we
to
have
know
to
that
use a very low,
KVP
maybe
or
80 or
tube
100
voltage is something
KVP for
that
that. Okay, for
not
that examination, or big or
give us
obese
really
patient,
room
then we have
for
to
playing
increase
around.
that
We only
120 or
maybe 3 or
140.
4
That's a
steps
kind
for
of
CT scan. We just have that in certain
variable,
way that
or I mean,
we just
option that
look at
we
the
have.
patient size.
In terms
We
of
choose this and
MA,
what
there's
examination that
something
we are
good and a
doing.
lot of
So, for example,
terminology
like pediatric,
used
then we have
currently.
to
After
use a
we
very low,
introduce
maybe
speech, we
80 or
introduce
100
helical,
KVP
we
for that.
introduce
Okay, for that
something like
examination, big
a
or
modulation.
obese patient, then
Yeah.
we have to
With that,
increase that
we
120 or
sometimes
140.
call it as
That's
a
a kind of a
effective MA or MAS
variable,
effective,
or
something like that.
option
Okay,
that we have.
so that's a
In terms
need
of
to really know
MA,
and
there's something good and a lot
understand
of
that then only we can
terminology used
communicate,
currently.
or we can
After
understand
we
when we
introduce speech, we
doing the
introduce
examinations
helical,
or
we
carry out the
introduce
examination with
something
that
like
kind of
modulation.
knowledge that we have.
Yeah.
And of course, the third one is optimization
that
image quality. Then we have to really take care of that based on the minimum requirement by
so that's
the
a need
latest
to really know
finding from the researcher or journal
understand that
article
then
that
only
we have to
can
keep on update
communicate, or
ourselves
we can
with
understand when
what
we
kind of image
doing the
quality or
examinations
noise level,
or carry out the
SNR level
examination
that
with
we
that kind
need
of
to know. Then only
knowledge
we
that
can
we have.
minimize the dose
And
to the
of
patients.
course, the third
So
one is
playing around with KVP,
optimization,
MA, and
image
other
quality. Then we have to
primary
really take care of that.
factors
Based on
really
the
help us
minimum
to optimize the image
requirement
quality,
by
and compared to the
latest
image dose,
finding
radiation
from the
dose. Sorry.
researcher or journals article that we have to keep
To discuss
on
about that, let's say we just have our
what
numbers
kind
of
of
terminology
image
here. For
quality or
example, we
noise
have
level,
MA,
SNR level
and
that
how
we
about
need
MAS
to
per
know.
rotation
Then
time,
only
and
we
MAS
can minimize the dose to
effective.
the patients.
MAS
So
effective, something
playing
that
around
we
with KVP, MA, and other
normally
primary
use. And
factors
if
really help us
we already take
optimize
care, or
the
I mean,
image
take
quality,
account of the
and
pitch and
compared to the
rotation
image
time.
dose,
So
radiation
something
dose,
like
sorry.
that. Okay, and that
to discuss about that, let's say
second
we
one,
just
we
have
have
our
a
numbers of
per tube
terminology
rotation.
here. For example, we have
MAS, MA
and
per
how about
tube rotation.
MAS
Then
per
we call it
rotation
MAS.
time?
Then
And
how about
MAS
the MAS
effective?
effective
MAS
multiplied
effective,
by
something that
pitch?
we
So from there, we have to use per
normally
slice. They use the term
use
MAS per slice or something,
if
time per
we
slice.
already take
And
care, or I
that's
mean,
really
take account of the pitch and
must be
rotation time.
familiarized
Something like that, okay? And
familiarized by the
second one, we
radiographer.
have
Sorry.
per
And
tube rotation.
that's something that we have to familiar with the MAS only.
Rotation,
We have
then we call
other
it MAS.
terminology,
Then how about
but
the
we need
MAS
to know
effective
what
multiplied
kind
by
of
pitch?
terminology
So
or
from there, we
parameters
have to use per
call
slide.
and
They
what
use the
is
term
referred to. Okay.
MAS per slide or
And
something
when
time
talking
per
about
slice.
pitch,
And
I don't know
that's
how
really
far radiographers now
must
familiar with
be
this, but
familiarized
terminology or definition about pitch.
by the
But the one that normally we do is we're talking about the table move, table motion. Okay. Here we can see that
terminology, but we need to
we
know
call it W here as a
kind of terminology or
width,
parameters
collimation width, and D is a distance Hubble
when talking about pitch, I
travel,
don't know how
and
far
you see
the
that
photographers
D
now
is more than
familiar with this,
the
but
W that
that
we
is
have here.
two
So we have another one
terminology
here.
or
Is
definition about
I
pitch,
can't
but
see
the
it
one
actually.
that normally we
Yes.
do is we talking
one
about the table move,
detector
table motion.
collimation
Okay,
size. Okay.
here we can see that
So with that, we can define that
we call
a
it
pitch
W
is
here as
about
a
the
width,
table
yeah,
travel
collimation width,
over
and D is
the
a distance.
collimation. Okay, W is the whole collimation size. Okay, in
travel,
that
and you see that D
sense
is
that
more
we can
than
say that
the
if the
W that
table
we have here.
have
So
bigger
we have
than
another one
collimator,
here is
then we can say that
I can't
this
see actually.
pitch more than one. If the
Yes.
travel is smaller than collimation, then we call it
collimation size.
pitch
Okay.
less than one.
So
That
with
will
that,
impact the
we
radiation
can
dose to
define
the
that
patient
the
in an
pitch
image
is
quality.
about
Before I forget, okay. If we
table
have a
travel
pitch more than
over
one, we
the
can say that
collimations. Okay, W is
we
the whole
skip
collimation
certain area,
size.
and we can have a
that
lower dose to the patient compared
sense
if we
that
use
we can
one.
say that if the
One,
table
yeah,
have
table
bigger
over
than collimator, then
collimator,
we can say that
collimations.
this
If we use
pitch more
less,
than one. If
meaning that we
table
can
is
have higher, we can have higher image quality, but we
big,
put extra dose to the patient.
if we have a
And the
pitch
time
more than
become
one, we can say that
longer.
we skip
Before I
certain
forget, I
area,
might
and we
repeat
can
this
have
later.
a lower
Okay?
dose to the patient compared if we
Impact
use
of slice
one.
thickness, very
one,
important. Here, then we can
table
say that
and
what
over,
option that we have. If
collimator,
we have a
collimations.
smaller area
If
of
we use
anatomy, then we
less,
need a very detailed
meaning that
structure
we can
with
have
less
higher, we can
contrast.
have
Then
higher
we have
image
to use
quality,
a smaller
but we
or
put extra
slice
dose to the
thickness.
patients. And
Then
time
the impact
become
of that, we have to increase the
longer.
exposure parameter
Before I
to
forget, I
compensate
might
the contrast and
repeat this
quality
later.
image.
Okay.
Yeah. And if we
Impact of
have
slice thickness, very
good
important.
high
Here, then we can say that
subject
what option
contrast, for
that we have.
example, or
If we
anatomy
have a
contrast,
smaller
then we
area
can
of
use a
anatomy,
smaller
then we need
slice
a very
to
detailed
get
structure
a better
with less
resolution to
contrast.
that,
Then we
or
have to use a
error
smaller
from the calculation
slice
of
thickness.
the
Then the impact
photon
of that we
of
have to
the
increase the
city.
exposure
Okay.
parameter. To compensate
Reconstruction
the
algorithm, we
contrast
can
and
say that
quality
this is a
yeah.
nowadays it's
we
very
have
good. We have
good
IR.
high
Before that,
contrast,
we
subject
always
contrast,
use
for example,
filter
or
back
anatomy
projection.
contrast, then we can
They
use a
use a
smaller
filter back
slice
projection because a little bit
get a better
simpler
resolution to that,
algorithm at a
error
certain
from
time
the,
with the capability of the computer, then we can get a very good image. Compared now, we have a very high-tech
reconstruction
computer,
algorithm,
CPU
we
or
can say that
processing.
this is
Then what we can do now, we can have IR, yeah,
before that we
reconstruction,
always use
iterative reconstruction with a different model. If we can, we want to a bit very good image quality, then we can use higher model. Then we can get a better image, but a little bit longer time. However, still can be tolerated by the time consumed by that algorithm. Okay, and of course, quality and those trade-off is we have to update that based on the finding by researcher now and then. Okay, currently, then how they find it, how in specific area, anatomy part, body part, and how they're going to get that with minimum noise, very good image quality, then can provide diagnostic value for that. Then we can say that that's enough. We don't want a little bit higher than that. Just look very nice, but we expose radiation beyond the limit that we consider that is acceptable. Okay,
with minimum
and we now discuss to the image quality. Talking about image quality, we cannot run from this spatial resolution and contrast resolution. And let me define that. If maybe if you know, then good. If someone that still at the beginning of this terminology, then I just want to mention here we have two types of spatial resolution, transaxial resolution and Z sensitivity. Okay, if transaxial, of course, from left to side to side of the patient, that we normally have that side, I mean the images. And if we talk about Z sensitivity, means the line long axis of the patient from head to toe. Okay, that's something that two types of spatial resolution. Okay, spatial resolution something that we want to see or define the sharpness of that. Okay, another contrast resolution is about that we want to compare the anatomy, structure, or abnormality and normal cell in that image. And that one is something that depend on how we choose our parameters. Okay? And this spatial resolution, normally we use a phantom that we can measure line per centimeter or per millimeter. And contrast resolution, we normally use another phantom that with a different density or Z number or something like that, so that we can see it also has a high contrast resolution or low contrast resolution. How the CT scan perform that kind of situations.
Normally we use a
all right.
phantom that we can
Here
measure
I already
line
discussed
per
that transaxial
centimeter
resolution
per millimeter.
across
And
the
contrast
patient,
resolution,
and that
we
you see
normally
that
use another
for
phantom
transaxial
with a
resolution,
different
we
density
normally
or
have that
Z
limit
number
7
or
line
something
per
like that,
centimeter.
so that we can see
For Z
it also
sensitivity is
has
about 0.5 to
high
10
contrast
mm.
resolution
Okay?
or low
This is
contrast
something that
resolution. How the
standard
CT scan
set
perform
for
that
that resolution.
real
So another one that
kind of
actually I
situations.
just got it lately is about
All right.
voxel
Here I already
resolution.
discussed
Okay,
that
this
transaxial
voxel
resolution
resolution something that we
across
also
the
need
patient and
to
Z.
know.
You see
And
that
if
for
of course
transaxial
the
resolution, we normally
spatial
have that limit
resolution
7 line
appear
per
like that,
centimeter.
we can say that this is
For
not
Z
very good
sensitivity is about
because
0.5
we
to
learn
10
about the
mm.
metric size, pixel size,
This is
everything,
something
but
that
this is about voxel.
standard set
We just
for
focus straight to the
that resolution.
diameter here.
So another one that
With
I'm
4.4,
actually I
then
just
we just
got
use
it
4
lately
here,
is
means
about
that the
voxel,
pixel is a
voxel
little bit
resolution.
smaller
Okay.
than the
This
feature
voxel
diameter.
resolution,
Then what
something
we
that
can
we
get is
also
something
need
like
to
this.
to
If
know.
we have a
And
pixel size about
if
2
of course
mm, we can see about different
spatial resolution appear like
see,
that,
like
we can say that this is
elongated,
not
not
very good
elongated.
because
The structure
we learn
already
about
changed
the metric
from
size,
a
pixel
circle
size,
here or
everything,
one
but this
big
is
dot
about
there to
voxel.
square here.
We
But
just
if
focus
we
straight to the
really make it a little bit smaller
diameter
or pixel, then we can get a
with
better
4.4,
voxel
then we just use 4
image
here.
here.
Means
Okay,
that
this
that
is what you call
pixel
it,
is a little
voxel
bit smaller
resolution.
than the picture
And
diameter. Then
here
what we can
we
get is
talk
something like
about
this.
patient dose.
If we have
I
a
just
pixel size
briefly
about
here.
2 mm, we can see
Sometimes
about
when we
different
talk about millisievert,
see like
milligray, everything is very hard
elongated,
for us.
not elongated.
But we
The
compare or
structure already changed
relatively one
from
examination
circle
with
here
other,
or one
and
big
not
dot
talking
there
about
to
image
square
quality.
here.
Of
But
course,
if
that
we
normally
really
as
make
a
it a little
practice
bit
we have
smaller
to
pixel, then we can get a
third
better
quartile of the
voxel
practitioner
image here.
perform that
This is what you
acceptable
call it,
image, then we can
voxel
say that that
resolution.
is a acceptable
And
image
here
quality. Then,
we
for
talk
example,
about
if
patient
we
dose.
consider that
I
CT
just
scan or
briefly here.
chest X-ray
Sometime when
about
when we talk about
0.02
millisievert,
considered as one
milligray, everything is very
relatively,
hard for us.
and for
But we
head
compare
CT
or
we
relatively
can
one
have about
examination with other, and not talking
4
about image quality.
millisievert
Of course,
or
that
about 200
normally as a
chest
practice we
X-ray,
have to
and
third
chest
quartile
CT
of
about
the
3
practitioner perform
millisievert,
that
then we have
acceptable
about
image, then we
150,
can say that
and
that is
abdominal abdominal
acceptable
CT, we
image
have
quality.
5,
Then,
about
for example,
250.
if we consider
So
that
that's
CT
how
scan
we
or
can relate that
chest
to the
X-ray about
to the
0.02
dose
considered as
in
one
that examination. So
relatively,
when we
and
discuss
for
about
head
patient dose
CT
relatively,
we
then we
can
can see
have
that how
about
much radiation dose from CT scan to
4
the chest
millisievert
X-ray, or we can
or
compare to the
about
background
200
of
chest
radiations.
X-ray.
So we
And
need to balance that. Okay,
chest CT about 3
I mentioned that a
millisievert,
few
then we
times
have
that
about 150,
SNR, contrast
and
ratio,
abdominal
all
CT
is a
we
very
have 5,
important part that
about
we always
250.
must
So that's
aware,
how
so that we
can
can
relate that to
know what are we performing
to
and
the
how much
dose
that our
in
quality
that
of our
examination.
service
So
to the
when
patient
we discuss
related
about
to the
patient dose
radiation dose and
relatively,
image
then we can
quality.
see that how much radiation dose from CT scan
I don't
to
know if
the
I
chest
want
X-ray,
to
or we can
mention this
compare to
again
the
or not,
background
but
of
this is something that
radiations.
very brief.
So
Let me
we need
take
to
about
balance that,
30
okay?
second maybe. The first
I
thing that
mentioned that
we
few
normally
times that
do in a CT
SNR,
scan, we call it as a
contrast
absorbed dose,
ratio,
yeah,
all
in
is a
gray.
very important
And this
part
one
that
is
we
just
always
something
aware,
radiation
must aware, so that we can
that
know
impart
what are
to
we
unit
performing
mass
and
of
how
tissue,
much that
okay,
our
to the patient.
quality of
But
our
if we
service
consider
to
that
the patient related to the
we use
radiation dose
X-ray,
and
then
image
we call
quality.
it as a equivalent dose, as a CV.
I don't know if
If
I want
we know
to
that
mention this
the
again or
tissue
not,
weighting
but this is
factor
something that very
for the
brief.
whole
Let me
body
take
total
about
is
30
equal to 1,
second maybe.
then we can
The
say
first thing
that
that
effective
we
dose
normally
in
do in a
millisievert.
CT scan,
You
we
see that
call it as
the
a
unit all
absorbed dose,
change
yeah, in
depend
gray.
on what
And this one is just something radiation
factors that we use. Yeah, first
that
X-ray, second to the
impart
whole body,
to
then
unit
we
mass of tissue,
name it
okay,
or use
to the patients.
millisievert for
But
that.
if we consider
Okay,
that
but if we use for the
we use X-ray,
population,
then we
then
call
we
it
use
as a
that as a
equivalent
densievert.
dose,
So
as
this is
a
the
CV.
formula that I
If
use
we
from
know
beginning,
that
so it's easy
the
to
tissue
memorize,
weighting
not
factor
confused. And
for
for the
the whole
beginners,
body total equal to
especially,
1,
then we can
say
memorize
that
that easily.
effective
Okay?
dose
This
in
one
millisievert
I
unit. You
got
see
it
that
from
the
ICR
unit all
390.
change depend
And
on what
for those descriptors, I think
factors that we use. Yeah. First X-ray,
Dr. Azura
second to
already
the whole
mentioned that.
body. Then
I just
we
want to mention here
name it or
again
use
briefly.
millisievert for
Those
that.
descriptors
Okay,
for
but
CT,
if
first
we
is
use for
CTDI
the
and
population,
computed
then we use
tomography
that
dose
as a
index.
millisievert.
Before this,
So
there's
this
a
is a
numbers
formula
of
that I use from
those
beginning,
mentioned
so it's
about
easy to
CTDI
memorize, not
100,
confused, and for the
CTDI
beginners,
average,
as
all
well
these
as
things. Okay, but
you
when
know.
CTDI W, we
For
call
those
it weighted
descriptors,
CTDI.
I
This
think
is something the CTDI
Dr.
when
Azura already
we use
mentioned that.
phantom
I
and
just want to
we
mention here
average the
again briefly.
measurement from the
Those descriptors
central
for CT,
and
first
three,
CTDI,
four
and
other points like
computed
12
tomography dose
o'clock,
index. Before this,
12,
there's a numbers
3,
of
6, and 9
those
o'clock.
mentioned
So
about
once we average
CTDI
that, we
100,
call it effective
CTDI average, all these
weighted
things, okay?
CTDI.
But when CTDI
Once
W,
we have
call it weighted CTDI. This is something that
pitch into
CTDI
consideration,
when
then we call
use
it
phantom
CTDI
and
volume.
we
Okay,
average
so the name
measurement from
change
the
because
central
what we are
and 3 or 4
calculate and
other
how we get
points
this
like 12 o'clock,
CTDI. And
12,
to
3, 6,
get
and 9 o'clock.
to
So once
get the
we
whole
average that,
dose
we call it
radiation from CT
effective
scan, we call it as a
weighted
dose length product,
CTDI.
where
Once
we
we
multiply
have
the milligray
pitch
to
into
the
consideration,
length
then
of
we call
the
it CTDI
distance
volume.
of the table
Okay,
travel.
so
Okay,
the
like
name changed
centimeter
because
in unit
what
of
we are
centimeter. So
calculate and
milligray
how we get
centimeter.
this
But this one
CTDI.
still we cannot
And
compare
to
with
get
the
to
normal
get
other
the whole
X-rays, you
dose
know,
radiation
so
from
like
CT scan,
radiation
we call it
fluoroscopy
as
or
a
this
dose
thing,
length product
in
where
millisievert.
we
So what we
multiply
have to do,
the
I think Dr.
milligray
Azura also already mentioned that
to the
we need
length
a
of
factors.
the
Normally we can get
distance
it from
of
a
the
different
table
article
travel,
journal or
okay,
from
like centimeter, in
European
unit of centimeter. So milligray
guide,
centimeter.
something like that.
But
The,
this one,
the number
still we
is
cannot
slightly
compare
different. Then
with
from that
the
factor, then we
normal
can
other
call it
X-rays,
as a millisievert or
radiation
effective
for
dose.
all this thing.
Okay,
In
and
millisievert.
lately
So what
we
we
have
have to do,
another
I think
unit,
Dr.
we call it
Alura
as
also already
SDE,
mentioned
yeah,
that we need a
size
factors. Normally we
specific
can get it
dose
from a
equivalent.
different
So,
article
and
journal or
must
from
remember that this dose not direct from the patients. I have to
guide,
stress
something
on
like
that.
that.
This does
The
not
number is
come from the
different.
patient.
Then
We
from
just
that factor,
compare
then
the
we
measurement
can
from the
call it
phantom
as a millisievert or
to the patient that
effective
we have
dose.
with the
Okay. And lately,
parameters. That
we have
1,
another
2, 3,
unit, we
4
call it
here,
SSDE.
we base on the phantom, and
Size
SSDE,
specific
we use
dose
that
equivalent.
for,
So,
and
must
we
remember that
add
this
another
dose
measurement
not
from the
direct from the
patient's
patient.
size. Yeah,
I have
so
to
that's how we
stress on
get that
this does
SSDE.
not come from the patient. We just
How long that I
compare
have?
the measurement from the
Another
phantom to the patient that we have with the
how long that I
parameters.
have?
That 1, 2, 3, 4 here, we base on the phantom, and SSDE.
Hello,
we use that
sorry, doctor.
for,
Basically, we are
and
actually
we
quite early.
add another
Okay.
measurement
How long
from
that I
the patient
need?
size. Yeah? So
You
that's how we
has
get that
time about
SSDE.
more than 50 minutes, but you can have
How
more
long that I
since
have?
our next speaker is
Another
actually scheduled on 11. Now, actually, about
okay.
time.
So,
how long that I
but
have?
time to finish, I'm only halfway.
Okay, it's okay, it's okay.
All right.
It's okay, doctor.
Okay. Now we go
sorry,
on with
doctor.
it.
Basically,
Please let
we
me
are
know because
actually quite early.
if you need me to
So,
stop,
how long
just
that
let me
I
know,
need?
and maybe 5 minutes before the time, I
Has
can just
time
stop at
about
that
more than
time.
50
Okay.
minutes, but
Okay,
you
doctor.
can have more
All right.
since our
Ladies
next
and
speaker is
gentlemen,
actually scheduled on.
Doctor, Professor, this trade-off in city imaging can be considered if we really
It's
take
okay,
care
it's
of
okay.
this. I mean, to start, I mean,
It's
to
okay,
accept
doctor.
the
Now
examination
we
from
go
the
on with it. Please let me
patient,
know
or
because
normally from the
if
doctors
you need me to stop,
referred
just
to
let me
the
know. And
our
maybe 5
department,
minutes
medical
before the
imaging
time, I
department,
can just stop at that.
normally filtered by
Okay.
the
Okay,
radiologist
doctor.
or registrar
All right.
to say yes or
Ladies
no
and
to that
gentlemen,
particular examinations.
Doctor,
And
Professor,
after that, then we
this
make
trade-off
appointment
in
when
city
they can
imaging
do that.
can
And
be
so
considered
the first
if we really take care of this. I mean,
gate that
to start, I
normally
mean, to accept the examination
do
from the patient or
for
normally from the doctors
optimization
refer
come
to
from
our
radiologists. Okay,
department, medical
they
imaging
normally
department,
scan the
normally filtered
request,
by the
and is it
radiologist or
possible
registrar
or
to say
acceptable
yes
for
or
the
no to that particular
examination.
examination.
Then second,
And after
pass
that, then
to
we make
radiographers.
appointment
Okay, radiographers
when
must
they can
really
do that.
take care of
And
this
so the first
particular examination, especially maintain the
gate
image
that
quality and
normally
minimize the radiation
do
exposure. So an
for
effective strategy
optimizations
for balancing
come
of
from
this. So
radiologists.
that
Okay,
those
they
days,
normally
when I
scan
did
the
my
request,
research
and is
in
it possible or
early
acceptable for the
2001, for
examinations.
example, for
Then
Malaysian
second, pass to
populations,
radiographers.
I
Okay,
got that
radiographers
certain
must
kind
really
of
take care of this
very large
particular examination,
variation of
especially
exposure
maintain
parameter
the image
used.
quality
And
and
normally at
minimize
that
the
time, I
radiation
think before that
exposure.
time too,
So
they
effective
use
strategy
whatever
for
protocol
balancing
already
of
there.
this. So that
And at that
those
time,
days,
year 2000,
when I
still
did
they
my
don't have
research
CTDI
in
appear on the console
early
panel. I think
2001
work
for
committee
Malaysian
from
populations,
ACRT or from
I got that
somewhere,
certain kind of
that
very
suggest
large
that
variation
we
of
must have
exposure
that
parameter
CTDI
use.
and DLP
And
for the
normally at
later
that time, I think before that
machine
time too,
produced or
they
CT
use
system
whatever
produced. So
protocol already
after
there.
that, I can see
And at
CTDI,
that time,
DLP
year
appear
2000,
when we
still
choose
they
the
don't have
exposure parameter.
CTDI
So that's a very
appear
good
on the console panel. I
development.
think
And
a
since
work
last
committee
10,
from
14 years of
ACRT or from
10, 15
somewhere,
years of time.
I
Okay. And
they suggest
something
that
that
we must have that CTDI
those
and
days
DLP
people, I mean
for the
radiographers,
later
have
machine
difficulty
produced
to
or
about
CT
this
system produced. So
balancing
after that, I can see
about
CTDI,
the
DLP
trade-off,
appear
yeah,
when
about the
we choose the
parameters and
exposure
patient
parameters.
dose.
So
They
that's a
just
very good
recall the protocol
development.
and start the
And
examination.
since
Okay.
last 10, 14
And
years
here
of
CT
10,
image
15
quality.
years of time.
I'm going
Okay.
to discuss about
And
resolution,
there's
noise, and
something that
contrast that's something very
those
important.
days people,
Three
radiographers have
descriptors in
difficulty
city
to
image quality.
about this
These are something, the image,
balancing
we can see that's a little
about
bit
the
difference in terms
trade-off,
of quality.
about the
Of course,
parameters and
if I want
patient
to
dose. They just
ask
recall the
face-to-face, much
protocol
easier,
and
but
start the
it's this one
examination.
online
Okay.
hard to
And
communicate or
here
two-way
in city image
communication, but I just go
quality,
through with this.
I'm going to
And
discuss
you
about
can see that
resolution, noise,
blurring
and
and
contrast.
image
That's
quality very
something
low.
very
To the left
important.
side, you can see my
Three
laser moving around here.
descriptors in city image
This is
quality.
because of the smoothing,
This
yeah, brain
something, the
smoothing.
image, we can see
Actually,
that's
we
a
need
little bit
for
difference in terms of
bone
quality. Of
algorithm.
course, if I want
Then
to
we change to
ask
age
face-to-face much
enhancement. You
easier,
can see
but
very
this
nice
one online hard
contrast,
to
high
communicate or
contrast
two-way
between
communication.
this
But I
one
just go through with this,
gas
and you can see
and
that
bone setting there
blurring
and outline
and
of the
image
bone
quality
nicely
very
there.
low.
But
To the
we, of
left
course,
side,
we
you can
cannot
see
see
my
the
laser moving
soft
around here.
tissue
This is because
contrast
of the
there,
smoothing,
because we use a
brain
different
smoothing.
algorithm.
Actually, we
Okay,
need for
and that's
bone
something that
algorithm.
just
Then
to
we
discuss.
change
Okay,
to age
and first I want to
enhancement. We can see
I would
very
like
nice
to discuss about resolutions.
contrast,
And
high contrast
resolutions,
between this one's
briefly,
gas
we can
and
say that this
bone
is the
setting
image
there and outline
of
of the
the
bone
object,
nicely there.
and
But
what
of
we
course,
have
we
the
cannot see
detector
the
here. You see
soft
that
tissue,
the object or
the contrast
the
there,
same. We have
because we use a
side
different
A and B
algorithm.
here,
Okay,
left side
and
and right side.
that's something
But
that
we have a different
just to discuss.
detectors
Okay.
here. Then
And first, I would
very
like
good
to
detector on the right side
discuss about
with
resolutions. And
smaller
resolutions,
size of detector.
briefly,
We can say that
the
the image display
of the object and what
most
we have
accurate
the
on the
detector
right
here.
side, but
See that
the left
the
side is
object
something
all-
merged there,
all the
yeah,
same. We
like
have,
elliptical
side
there,
A
and
B
this is
here,
something
left side and
contributes
right side.
to the
But we have
unsharpness of the
different
image. Yeah? So
detectors
based
here.
on that
Then
detector there.
very good detector on the
So
right
I'm
side.
not
With
go through
smaller
these all
size of
parameters, but we
detector.
need to know
We
that
can say
this
that
is a
we can see that
scanner
the image
factors,
display
something like focal size or
most
this thing.
accurate on
Yeah,
the right
and
side,
detector
but the left
size,
side
but
is something
scan parameters
merged
normally
there,
we can
elliptical there,
we have
and
option
this is
to
something
choose that.
contribute
Okay,
to the
number
unsharpness of the image. So based
reconstruction
on that
file
detector there.
F or V. Yeah,
So I'm not
frequency. Okay,
go through
and
this all
but must
parameters,
remember
but we
that
need to know
this
that
resolution
this is a scan,
not
scanner
affected by tube
factors,
current and
something
tube
like focal
voltage.
size
Yeah,
or this
for
thing.
transaxial
And
resolution.
detector
Remember
size,
that
but
transaxial
scan
means
parameters
across,
normally
yeah,
we
from
can
left lateral
we
to
have
lateral.
option
Okay,
to
for
choose
the
that. Okay,
along that axis, we can
reconstruction
have this something that
F or V,
we must have
frequency. Okay, and but must remember that
we must
this resolution
remember that
not
affected by
affected by tube
detector
current
size,
and
thickness,
tube voltage. Yeah, for
overlapping
transaxial
sampling,
remember that
and
transaxial means
focal size
across,
focus. Yeah?
from
So
left,
in these
lateral
situations
to
that
lateral.
we
Okay.
have to use
For the
smaller size. Yeah.
along
So
that axis,
if we use
can
smaller
have
the size,
this something
greater
that
the noise. So
we must have
remember that. So we need to improve by
we must
increase the
remember that
slice thickness.
affected by
Yeah.
detector size,
So
thickness,
less the partial volume artifact,
overlapping
but
sampling, and
volume
focal
artifact
size
will
focus.
reduce. So which one
in
you
these
going to
situations
choose?
that
Then
we
you have to
use smaller
consider
size.
and learn from
So
journal
if we use
article
smaller
or
the size,
latest
greater
current
so
research from
remember that. So we need to
researcher.
improve
Okay,
by
and
increase the
second,
slice
first
thickness.
contrast,
So
second
less
noise.
the partial
Then noise,
volume
of course,
artifact,
is something that
this volume
exists,
artifact
yeah,
will
everywhere.
reduce. So
And
which
we
one
can
you
say that
choose,
this
then you have
noise,
to
if we have
consider
a
and
photon
learn from
less than what we
journal
need to
article
penetrate
or
the
latest
matters, then we can
current
have like
research from
noise, yeah, quantum noise
and
will appear.
second,
Okay.
first, second
Normally noise we
and
call it
noise, of
also as
course,
a
is
standard
something that
deviation. So this is the image that we have, and
exists,
these are the photon
everywhere.
that are
And we
detected,
can say
and
that
we can see
this
the
noise, if
detected
we have a photon
something that we can see the
less
contrast
than
there.
what
Okay,
we need to penetrate the
level of
matters,
noise.
then we can have
contrast here.
noise.
Let's say we can say that the first thing is noise.
Okay.
If we have higher noise, the contrast will reduce. If we use tube current, higher tube current, then we get better image quality, lesser noise, but radiation dose to the patient will increase. Inherent tissue properties, meaning that anatomic contrast or inherent contrast, or we call it
if we have higher noise,
the contrast between two structure or part in a patient. Okay, beam zero voltage. Of course, the higher the beam will get
lesser noise,
reduce the contrast. Remember that photon electric and constant effect and photoelectric. So we need that. But in CT scan, we cannot compare exactly the same like X-ray because we want at least the X-ray photon penetrate the matter or the structure that we want to measure. Yeah, not like X-ray, it's absorbed and appear white, gray, something like that. What we need to know, we must make sure that photon penetrate the patients and hit the detector, then give us some value. Okay, that's something that we need to do. That's why the KBP a bit high in CT scan. Another thing that we have to be aware that about contrast media in patients, yeah, how we're going to use, how much the concentration of the contrast, yeah, we need to really study and use the optimum one. Okay, and
then give us some value.
here,
That's something that we need to do.
just
That's why the
go to
KBP
the little bit calculation or ratio here,
CT scan.
and effect on the radiation
Another
dose.
thing that we
Of course,
have to be aware
MA
that
will
about
directly
contrast media
proportional.
in
Increase the
patients,
MA
how we
will
going to
increase
use
the radiation dose.
how
KBP
much
is something about we have to calculate that a little bit, but it's contribute to, yeah, but a little bit higher KBP, more penetration, less the radiation absorbed by the patient. So consider that a lesser radiation to the patient. Yeah.
And effect
That's
on
something
the
that
radiation
we
dose.
also have to
Of
consider
course,
that
MA will directly
if we use
proportional. Increase the
KBP.
MA will
Low
increase the
KBP
radiation
will
dose.
contribute
KBP is
more
something
scatter.
about we have to
Of course,
calculate that
time,
a little
yeah,
bit, but
directly
it's
proportional.
contribute to
Longer time,
but a
then
little bit
longer
higher KBP, more penetration,
dose.
less
Sorry,
the
not longer dose.
radiation absorbed by the patient. So
Higher dose.
consider
Okay.
that
Now
a
pitch.
lesser
Yeah, pitch. I already
radiation to the
discussed that.
patients. Yeah.
First, we have to
That's
start
something
with
that
one.
we
One is
also have to
something that
consider that
norm.
scattered.
Okay, standard.
If
If we
use
increase the
KBP,
pitch, meaning that
low KBP
radiation dose will
contribute
reduce
more
inversely proportional. Okay,
of
if we
course, time,
reduce the dose,
directly
the
proportional,
pitch,
longer
increase the
time,
dose
then
because
longer
we use a smaller slice
dose.
thickness.
I mean,
We
sorry,
have to
not
scan
longer
more
dose.
to the patient, then we
Higher
get
dose. Okay.
we
Now pitch. Yes,
expose
pitch. I already discussed
extra
that.
dose to the patient.
First, we have to start with one. One is
And
something that no,
of course, that
standard.
as a
If we
radiographers,
increase
we
the
have
pitch,
to
meaning
consider
that
all these
radiation
things.
dose will
What case
reduce
that we
inversely
having now?
proportional. Okay. If we
Yeah,
reduce
it's a
the
trauma
dose,
patient,
the pitch,
pathological
increase
cases,
the dose because
pediatric,
we use a
or
smaller
something
slice thickness.
in
We
that
have to
kind
scan
of
more
patient,
to the
coma
patient,
patient,
then we
then
get
you have to
we
play around with the
expose
parameters so that to
extra dose to
suit.
the
If you think that time is important now,
And,
then you have to use
of course,
higher
that
exposure
as a
with
radiographer, we
shorter
have
time
to
with
consider all these things.
increase the
What
pitch
case
number.
that
Let's
we
say
having now?
1.2 to
Yeah,
1.
it's a trauma patient,
Up to
pathological
1.5, you
cases,
still can get a good image. Yeah,
something.
and don't use until
that
2
kind
because
of
2
patient,
normally we
coma patient,
use for
then
colonoscopy
you have to play
examination. Yeah,
around
we
with the
skip a lot.
parameters
We
so that
not really
as soon-
focus
if
on
you
the
think
image
that time
quality.
is
What we want to see
important
the
now, then you
differences
have to
between
use higher
wall of the
exposure
colon. So something like
shorter
that.
time
Okay,
with
if pediatric, if
increase
we
the
need
pitch
sedation
numbers.
or not,
Let's say
then how we going to
1.2
scan
to
the
1.
patient based on that.
Up
Yeah,
to
because
1.5, you
trauma
still can get a
scan
good
time.
image. Yeah.
Or a kind of
Don't use
patients.
until 2 because 2
Routine
normally
screening,
we use for
something that if we want to
colonoscopy
use a metric, we
examination.
want to
We skip a
study
lot.
the
We not
cancer
really focus on the image
in the
quality.
brain,
What
for
we
example,
want
then
to
we
see
use
the
a
differences
very
between
nice or smaller
wall of the
pixels.
colon.
We
So
have
something
to
like
use
that.
a
Okay.
different
If
parameters
pediatric,
like
if
we
we
normally
need
use.
sedation
So
or
this is
not,
something
then
we have
how
a
we going
routine
to scan the
examinations,
patient based on that. Yeah.
routine,
Plus trauma,
special
scan
examination for
time,
identify
kind of patients,
cell cancer.
routine screening,
So we can see
something
the
that if we
spike
want
of the
to use a
graph here,
metric, we
something
want
like
to
that.
study
And
the cancer
for
in the
screening
brain,
that
for example,
here,
then we use
maybe
a
we
very nice or smaller pixels. We have to use a different parameters like we normally use. So this is something we have a
calculus
routine
heart examination, like screening. I don't know,
routine,
even
special
either
examination
mammography
for
also now use
identify
CT scan
cell
for
cancer.
screening or not. But
So you
definitely,
can see
I
the
think
spike on
they
the graph,
like to have
something like
MRI
that.
for that
And
examination. Screening
for
for
screening
mammography,
that
but
here maybe we
routine screening here, I can just give an example such as calcium score
calculus heart
or
examination like
BMI
screening.
or
I don't know, even
osteoporosis
either
examination. Just want
mammography
to see
also
the
now use CT scan for
bone
screening
density,
or
for
not.
example.
But definitely, I think
And
they
parameter
like to have
adjustment
MRI for that
keep
examination.
must keep
Screening
ongoing.
for mammography, but
Research must
routine
carried out
screening here, I
now
can
and
just give
then to
examples such
measure
as
what is the best. I think with the phantom, I
calcium
work
score
very close
or
with Professor
BMI
Dr.
or
Anam from
osteoporosis
Semarang,
examination.
and I
Just want to
think
see the
he is very good in as a medical
bone density,
physicist,
for example.
established.
And
And
parameter adjustment
they have a lot
it
of
must
phantom in their
keep
department,
ongoing.
and a lot of
Research
examinations
must
or
carried
study
out
been done
now and then to measure what is the
for
best. I
establish
think with the
minimum
phantom,
image
I
quality
work
that
very
acceptable
close
for
with
CT scan
Professor
examinations.
Dr. Anam from Semarang.
And technique
I
for
think
minimize
he's
artifact.
very
This
good
artifact
as
another
a
thing
medical
that we
physicist,
have to consider,
established.
and how
And
those days we
they
have
have a lot of
very
phantom in their department, and
I
a
mean,
lot
we
of
have problem with the
examinations
artifact. We have to adjust patient
studies been done.
positions. That time we don't have a software
For
to
establish
eliminate this, and
minimum
nowadays we have
image
that.
quality
But
that acceptable
before
for
we
CT
have
examinations.
that software
And
applied,
technique for
but we have
minimize
to really
artifacts.
know
This
the
artifact another
few
thing
things
that
about
we
artifact.
have
Okay,
to consider.
and here
Those days
we have to
very
optimize scanning protocol.
so, I
Firstly,
mean, we have
proper
problem with the
patient
artifact.
position,
We have to
and
adjust patient
oh
position.
yeah,
That time we
talking
don't
about
have a
patient
software
position,
to
radiation
eliminate
dose,
this. And nowadays we
modulation
have that.
transfer
But
function. Sorry, I just
before
mentioned
we
that.
have
I worry that I skipped that. This is very
software
important part,
applied,
where
we have to
when
really
we
know
use
a few things
we
about
not
artifact.
really
Okay, and here
observe
we
that
have to
patient at
optimize
the
scanning
ISO center
protocol. First
of the
thing,
gantry.
proper patient
Yeah,
position.
we
And
the scout
talking
view
about patient
or
position,
planning
radiation
view
dose,
will
modulation transfer
get that
functions.
image
Sorry, I
wrongly,
just
and
to mention that
TCM
I worry that
modulation
I
will
skipped that.
use that
This is very
image
important part.
to measure the
Where
to
when we
modulate
use
the
we
MA
not
for that
really
examination or KV. Yeah, so with that we
observe that
have
patient
problem
at the ISO center of the
maybe
gantry.
to
We
either expose the patient
scout view
unnecessarily
or planning
because positioning the patient
will
not at the
get
ISO
that
center.
image wrongly,
And
and
here,
PCM
patient
modulation
positioning,
will
then
use
advanced
that
reconstruction
image
algorithm,
to
as
measure
we,
to
I think
modulate
we
the
normally
MA
do,
for
or
that
we learn that
examination or KV.
from our
So with
basic
that,
degree, that
we have problem.
really make sure that we
Maybe
have to use that algorithm
to
nicely,
either expose the
reconstruction
patient
algorithm, then we have to
unnecessarily
know
because positioning the
which
patient not at the
particular
ISO center.
reconstruction that we need to do.
And here,
Okay.
patient positioning, then advanced
Quickly
reconstruction
about
algorithm.
artifact, even
As
though I
we,
got a lot
I
of
think we
images
normally
there,
do,
but this one
or
is a
we
basic
learn
one that
from
at least
our
we
basic degree that
need to know.
we
Okay,
really make
physics-based
sure that
patient
we have to
properties,
use that
scanner-based,
algorithm
and
nicely,
helical
reconstruction
or
algorithm. Then we
multi-slice
have to
artifact.
know
Okay, quickly here
which
from
particular
basic
reconstruction that we need
physics-based,
to do.
we can see normally we have this high beam
Quickly
hardening,
about artifact,
beam,
even though I got a lot
call
of
it beam hardening.
images there,
How
but
to
this
know
one
that?
is a
Here we
basic
have
one
a number of
that
photon,
at
we got
least
an
we
energy level.
need to
Once
know. Okay?
we reduce the
Physics-based patient
number
properties,
of photon here,
scanner-based,
number
and
of photon was
helical
NA,
or
yeah,
multi-slice
and
artifact.
the beam
Okay.
hardening,
Quickly
beam
here,
energy
from
increase
basic
here, yeah, with
physics-based,
less
we can
NA
see
and increase
normally
the
we
KV.
have this
Then what
high
we can
beam
see that there's
hardening
a
beam different
beam hardening.
mean energy.
How to
With
know
that,
that?
we
Here
can see
we
the
have a
image
number
something
of
in
photon,
between
we got the energy
posterior
level.
or fifth
Once
pulsar
we
there, we can
reduce
see a little
the
bit
number
wider
of photon
from the
here,
standard one
photon
or
one
from the normal
MA,
one. So
yeah,
this is
and
artifact
the
that we
beam
can
hardening,
find. So
beam
this is
energy
cupping
increase
artifact due
here,
to the
yeah, with less
beam
MA
hardening
and increase
that
the
occur
KB.
with the
Then what we
if
can
we
see
have
that there's a
spherical object.
different mean
Here
energy.
partial
With that, we
volume
can see the
artifact.
image
Here you can
something
see
in
we
between
have a very good
posterior or fifth pulsar there. We can see a
part
little
of
bit
that circle,
whiter
but
from
we
the
can't see
standard
anything
one
there
or
because
from the
the
normal
photon
one. So
absorbed
this is
there.
artifact that
Consider
we can
absorb
find. So
100%
this
there,
is
then we can
cupping
see very
artifact
white here.
due to the
So the image white there.
beam
The
hardening.
attenuation is
occur
very
with
high with that
if
kind
we
of
have a spherical
situation.
object.
Here
Here
with
partial
starvation,
volume
that's a
artifact.
good
Here
thing
you can
about
see we
starvation.
have a
So
very
we're
good
talking about exposure parameter. We
part of
normally
that
can use that
circle,
parameter,
but we
and
can't see
nowadays we
anything
have
there because
MA
the photon
modulation.
absorb there.
So with
Yeah,
that
consider
modulation,
absorb
especially for
100%
the
there, then we
solder
can see
area,
very
a
white
wide
here.
area
So
here,
the image
we can
white there.
see
Yeah, the
kind of
attenuation is very
artifact
high
there.
with
This
that kind
is
of
can be done by two ways.
situations.
First thing is
Here
the adaptive
with
filter, adaptive
starvation,
filter.
that's
Then we
a
can
good thing
have
about
this
starvation.
noise
So we're talking
reduced.
about
Then we
exposure
can see just
parameter.
nice
We
there.
normally can use
And the
that
second
parameter.
one,
And
we
nowadays
can
we
see
have
the
MA
automatic
modulation.
adjustment
So
of
with
the
that modulation,
MA
especially for the solder
anterior,
area, the
posterior,
white
or
area here,
laterally.
we can
So
see
with that,
kind
we can
of
avoid
artifact
this
there. This
artifact,
can be
photon
done by
starvation
two ways.
artifact.
First thing is
Metallic artifact,
adaptive
I
filter.
think that one
Adaptive
consider
filter. Then we can
standard
have
one.
this
I
noise
want to do something
reduced. Then we
scanner
can see
based
just noise
ring
there.
artifact.
Yeah.
This because
And the
of the
second one,
detector.
we can
And
see
spiral and multi-slice
automatic
base. This
adjustment of
one
the
due to the
MA
cone
anterior,
beam that
posterior,
we
or
use for
laterally. So
multi-slice,
with that,
from
we can
along the
avoid
Z
this
axis of the patient.
artifact.
Then we
Photon
can see
starvation.
the different there.
Metallic
So this
artifact,
artifact
I
make,
think that one
make a
consider
little bit
standard one. I
effect on
want
the
to
image
do something
quality.
scanner based ring
I
artifact.
think
This
the
because of the
iterative
detector.
reconstruction keep on
And
going. People
spiral and
know better,
multi-slice base.
and they
This
use a
one
lot of
due
model.
to the
And another one is a
cone beam
hybrid one
that
that
we use
combine
for
between a filter
multi-slice,
back
yeah,
projections
along
and
the Z-axis
iterative
of the patient.
reconstruction
Then
to
we
get
can see
higher
the
image
different
quality
yeah.
with
So this
lesser time
artifact make
frame.
a
So
little
that's
bit
something that we need, especially for
effect on the image
fluoroscopy
quality.
CT, for example.
I
Yeah,
think
dual
the
energy, of course,
iterative
with this
reconstruction keep
higher
on going.
detection
People know better,
method,
and they
we
use a
can
lot of
get a
model.
high and
And
low
another one is a
contrast
hybrid
structure
one
all
that
together
combine between a
appear
filter
in
back
one image,
projection
and we can
and
detect
iterative
abnormality
reconstruction to
for
get
any
higher
specific that
image
we
quality
normally have.
with lesser
And
time frame. So
artificial
that's something that we
intelligence,
need, especially
of
for
course, now those days we have
fluoroscopy,
CAD, of something that introduced
dual energy, of course,
last 10,
with
20
this
years,
higher
but now we
detection
have
method,
deep
we
learning
can
and
get
AI, all these
high
things.
and
Please
low
update ourselves
contrast
with
structure
that. I also
altogether
updating, and
appear
it's
in one
very
image,
hard to
and we
update
can
that.
detect
We need a basic knowledge
abnormality
that, and we
for
have
any
to
specific that we
keep the
normally have.
momentum of understanding of this
Artificial intelligence,
new
of
terminology.
course, now those days we
And
have CAD of something that
with that,
introduced
I think I already
last 10,
discussed
20 years, but now we
meters
have
image quality
deep
considerations,
learning and AI, all
trade-off
these
in
things.
CT
Please
imaging,
update
advanced
ourselves with
technique,
that.
and
I
feature
also
trend that
updating, and
going
it's
to be
very hard to
discussed by
update that. We
the
need a
third
basic
speaker,
knowledge that, and we have to
Mr. Isnu. And
keep
I
the
think
momentum
that
of
I will
understanding
cover
of
this.
this
And if you have any question,
new
please
terminology. And with
send it
that,
to
I think I
secretariat.
already
Then
discussed key
I try to
parameters,
answer
image
that.
quality
I also would like to
considerations,
acknowledge
trade-off
a
in
number
CT
of
imaging, advanced technique
contributor
and
for
feature
my
trend that
presentation, Radiology
going to be
Cafe,
discussed by the
Radiopedia,
third speakers,
Donald Prey
Mr.
from
Usnu.
AJR,
And I
articles,
think that I
Takasi,
already
very
covered
nice
this.
Rigaku
And if you have any question, please
website with discuss about of
send it
city
to secretariat.
artifact.
Then
Brian,
I try to answer
how
that.
radiology
I
works.
also would like to
think
acknowledge
he's one of the
a
professor
number
that
of
I normally refer
contributor
from
for my
YouTube.
presentation,
He's
Radiology
explained
Cafe,
very nice. Portion
Radiopedia,
5, 10
minutes time, so we learn part by part from that.
articles.
With that,
see
I
very
would like
nice
to
regard
thanks
to,
for your attention, and ladies and gentlemen, I
website with discuss about of
pass it
city
back to Miss
artifact, yeah. Brian Net, yeah, how radiology works. I think he's one of the professors that I normally refer.
Yes,
from
Dr. Miss
YouTube.
Faika, Madam Faika.
Faika,
Explain a very
sorry,
nice portion,
now
5-10 minutes
I
time.
can feel
So we learn
my
part
age.
by part. With that,
You know
I would
that
like
Thank you very
to
much.
thanks
you
for your
still
attention.
young,
And
basically.
ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen,
no.
I
Thank you very much. Yeah.
pass
Okay.
it back to Miss.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Hanafi, for your engaging session.
Miss.
Now we go to our next speaker, Mr. Isno Halim.
Yes, Dr.
Mr. Isno is an esteemed clinical marketing
sorry,
expert
sis.
and
Now I
radiology
can
application
feel
specialist
my
with
age.
over 8 years of experience
You know
in
that
the healthcare
you
industry.
you still young,
He is
basically.
currently the clinical
Thank
marketing
you very
senior
much.
manager for
Okay.
imaging
Okay,
and
thank you very
surgery
much,
at
Dr.
Fujifilm
Hanafi, for your engaging
Asia
session.
Pacific, where he
Now we go to
oversees
our next speaker,
advanced imaging
Mr. Isno
technologies,
Halim. Mr.
AI-driven
Isno is an
solutions, and
esteemed clinical
regional
marketing
clinical
expert and
collaborations.
radiology
Mr. Isno
application
currently
specialist with
pursuing his
over 8
PhD
years of
in medical
experience
imaging
in
from
the
UDC
healthcare
Putra
industry.
Malaysia.
He is currently the
He has
clinical
an
marketing
MBA in
senior
strategic
manager for
management
imaging
from the
and
International
surgery at
Islamic University
Fujifilm
Malaysia
Asia
and a bachelor
Pacific,
degree in
where
dynastic
he
imaging and
oversees
radiography from
advanced
UPM.
imaging
He
technologies,
has worked with a
AI-driven
global
solutions,
healthcare
and
leaders,
regional
including
clinical
Philips,
collaborations.
GE Healthcare,
Mr.
and
Isno
Siemens,
currently
and
pursuing his
he is the
PhD in
founder
medical
of the
imaging
Fujifilm
from
Asia
UC Putra
Pacific
Malaysia.
Healthcare Learning Academy, Fahla,
He has
in
an
3
MBA in
different
strategic
countries,
management
which is
from the International
in
Islamic
Thailand
University
at
Malaysia
Mahidol
and a
University,
bachelor degree in dynasty
in
imaging
Malaysia,
and
which is
radiography from
quite as
UPM.
impressive at
He
2
has worked with a
university,
global
which is in
healthcare
University
leaders,
Kebangsaan Malaysia
including
UPM
Philips,
and
GE
University
Healthcare,
Putra
and
Malaysia
Siemens.
UPM,
He is
and
the
in
founder
Philippines
of the
at University of
Fujifilm Asia
Philippines.
Pacific
His
Healthcare Learning
expertise lies
Academy,
in
Fahla,
AI-driven city
in 3
innovations
different
and
countries,
clinical workflow
which is
optimization and as
in
well
Thailand
radiation dose
at
reduction
Mahidol University,
strategies. Today, we will
Malaysia,
discuss
which is
advancement
quite as
in CT
impressive at
technologies
2
and their impact
university,
on
which is
radiation
in
dose,
University
and in
Kebangsaan
depth
Malaysia UKM
look at how
and
imaging
University Putra
technologies
Malaysia
is shaping
UPM,
the features of
and
CT
in
imaging.
Philippines
Please
at University of
welcome
Philippines.
Mr. Isno
His
Halim.
expertise lies in AI-driven
Very
city
good
innovations
morning, everyone.
and
Thank you,
clinical
Madam
workflow
Faika,
optimization and as
for
well
such
radiation dose
elaborate
reduction strategies.
introduction of
Today,
myself.
we will
Okay, let
discuss
me share my
advancement
screen.
in CT technologies and their impact on radiation dose, and in depth look at how imaging technologies is shaping the futures of CT imaging. Please welcome Mr. Isno Halim.
I hope you all can see
Very
my
good
screen
morning,
now.
everyone. Thank you,
Clearly,
Madam
sir.
Faika,
We can see it.
for such
Okay,
elaborate
again,
introduction of
thank you
myself.
to
Okay, let me
everyone.
share my
I believe you
screen.
have a very busy schedule over the week and you still spend time over the weekend to learn more about CT technology. And thank you to the organizer, all the above mentioned
I
organizers
hope you all can see my
for
screen now.
inviting me to be one of the
Clearly,
speakers.
sir.
Okay, my topic will be on the
Okay,
advancement in CT technology
again,
and impact on the
thank you
radiation
to
dose.
everyone. I believe you have a
Just
very
a little
busy
bit brief
schedule over the week,
introduction
and
about
you
me,
still
already
spend
mentioned
time
by the
over the
Madam
weekend
Faika.
to
My
learn
name is
more
Isno
about
Halim. I'm head of
CT
marketing division
technology,
of
and
Fujifilm
thank you to the
Healthcare Asia
organizer,
Pacific, based in
all
Singapore.
the above mentioned organizers,
I'm also the
for
director
inviting
of
me to
Fujifilm
be one
Asia
of the
Pacific
speakers.
Healthcare Learning
Okay,
Academy,
my topic will be on the
where
advancement
we
in
have
CT
a
technology
few
and
universities
impact
that
on the
has
radiation
been
dose.
established over the past
Just a little bit brief
6 years.
introduction about me, already
In
mentioned by
2019, we
Madam
signed an
Faika.
MOU with Mahidol
My name is
University.
Isno Halim. I'm
We
head of
established
marketing
Center
division
for
of Fujifilm
Digital
Healthcare Asia
Imaging and
Pacific,
Medical Imaging Informatics.
based in Singapore.
Next, on the same year,
I'm
we
also
also
the
have
director of Fujifilm
established
Asia
Center
Pacific
for
Healthcare Learning
Advanced Breast
Academy,
Imaging with National
where we have
University of
a
Malaysia,
few
which is
universities
University
that
Kebangsaan
has
Malaysia.
been
And
established
then
over the
in
past
2023, we
6
signed
years.
another MOU with
In
University Putra
2019,
Malaysia,
we signed an MOU with Mahidol
focusing
University.
on the advanced
We
medical
established
physics.
Center for Digital
And coming
Imaging and
soon,
Medical
which
Imaging
is
Informatics,
next week, we'll be signing another MOU with University of Philippines to establish Center for Healthcare Informatics. And a little bit introduction of Fujifilm for those who are not familiar yet with Fujifilm. There's a lot of development over the past years. Fujifilm started back in 1936. You can see on my first slide, we show that we are almost 19 years old company based in Japan, and we introduced and moved into healthcare industry back in 1936 with our film, 1983 with our computer radiography system, one of the first being commercialized. And then over the years, things changed. The demand of film has been reduced. What Fujifilm continuously maintain and sustain in the industry, we have evolved into a modality companies where we have expanded into digital X-ray solution. We have expanded in X-ray system. We have ultra portable system that widely being used for TB screening, for mobile work, for home work, and then we have IVD, in vitro dry chem solution and endoscopy. And in 2022, we expand more our portfolio with acquisition of CT and MR and ultrasound business unit. So we have comprehensive workflow to stay with. And then we also being one of the leader in medical IT, which our CMAPs, and in 2019, when everyone is just started to have discussion on artificial intelligence, we already established our AI platform. We call it Riley. Okay, so this is how Fujifilm Healthcare is being developed and sustained until now. So the development priority here is we don't design machines, we don't design machine for the sake of what we call this for profitability or for chasing the trends and the technology. But what we are doing for Fujifilm is we provide solutions that tailor the needs of medical practice. So we focus on the solution selling instead of moving into faster advanced technology, all these things. So we focus more on provide solution. Like example, I mentioned about TB screening, we talk about lung screening, how we work with our CT and our deep learning iterative reconstruction and others. Okay, and we have also focused in AI technology like others do. I mentioned that since 2019, our integrated AI FDR Nano, where we use for COVID screening, was first in the world. And it is proudly say it's in our region, which is in Thailand. Then after that, we have huge installation of AI for TB screening across the globe. And then last one is a continuous engagement with healthcare professional through education platform. We call it Fala, the one that they mentioned earlier. What is Fala? And later I will elaborate more. And also we have our own user meetings. So in terms of Fala, okay, I take this a little bit time for this. After this, I will jump into the topic. Just to introduce to everyone, Fala is our education platform. Okay, we want to elevate our healthcare education, and our main thing here is in the region is to close the gap between countries. We see a lot of huge gap between one country to another in terms of the radiology, what we call it practice, and then we wanted to close the gap. So we equip professionals with knowledge and skill. And then because of the demand of modern healthcare, and the second one is we are not doing from our end. We work together with highly accredited top educational institutions, as I mentioned, together with their faculty to come up with the structured educational module. And then last one, we also create a localized Asia-Pacific collaborative tools and also support some of the research. We have done quite a lot in terms of that. So as you can see on the bottom part, with Maido University, we focus on digital imaging and medical imaging informatics. We have, as of now, certified more than 50 PACS administrators,
together with their faculty to come up with a structured educational module.
Huge
And
number
then
of
last one, we also
digital
create a
imaging
localized
participants as well.
Asia-Pacific collaborative
And
tools.
the progress
And also
for
the
UKM, we
research,
have more than
done quite a
1,000
lot in terms of that.
healthcare
So as you
professionals
can see on the
engaged
bottom part,
throughout 3
with
years
Baidu
or 4
University,
years
we
of the
focus on digital imaging
establishment.
and medical imaging
And
informatics.
coming
We
soon,
have,
we're going
as
to
of
have a
now,
professional
certified
certification,
more than 50
which open
PACS
to the whole
administrators,
region to come and join
which
in
is,
National University of Malaysia
and also
to get
huge number
professional
of
certification
digital
in
imaging participants as well.
breast screening.
And
Okay, and
the
last
progress
one, the recent one
for
is
UKM, we have more
with
than 1,000
University
healthcare
of Putra
professionals
Malaysia.
engaged throughout
We come
3
up with
years, 4
courses
years
where
of the
we want to equip
establishment.
our
And
radiographer and
coming soon,
radiological
we're going to have
technologists
a professional
into things
certification
that
which open
encourage
to the
them
whole
to further
region to
pursue
come and
their
join in National University
interest
of
in
Malaysia
research, in
to
collaboration,
get
as well as also
professional
in
certification in
quality
breast
control
screening.
and quality
Okay, and last one, the recent one is
QC and QA
UPM,
of the equipment.
UPM,
So this
University
is
of
where
Putra
we
Malaysia.
come
We
in
come up
terms
with
of
courses where we
So
want to
now
equip
let's
our
move to the topic
radiographer
today.
and
I'm sorry to
radiological
take some time
technologies
of this. So
into
my
things
topic will
that
be on the advancement in CT technology. And when we talk
encourage
about
them
advancement
to
in
further
CT
pursue
technology,
their
the direction is
interest
to
in
improve
research, in collaboration,
image
as
quality,
well as
patient safety, speed,
quality control and
and
quality
without what we call it
QC and QA of the equipment.
less focusing
So
on
this is where we
diagnostic
comes in,
capability. So
in
these
terms
are
of
the things that
so now
we're going to
let's
focus
move to the topic
in
today. I'm
advancement
sorry
in
to
CT
take some time
technology.
of this. So my topic will be on the
When we talk
advancement
about
in CT
advancement in CT
technology.
technology,
And
I
when we
believe
talk
you
about
have heard
advancement
from
in
the previous
CT
speaker,
technology, the
there are
direction
many
is to
advancement in
improve
CT technology
image quality.
over the years.
Second
We
one is
talk
patient
about the
safety,
latest
speed,
advancement in the
and
design
without
of the system,
what we call
of the
it
detector system. Before this, with
less
spectral
focusing
CT,
on diagnostic
with dual
capability.
source,
So
with
these are
photon
the things
counting.
that
But for
we're
me,
going
I'm not going to
to
focus on
in
these two.
advancement
So
in
I will
CT
focus
technology.
more on the others where it's widely
When we talk about
available
advancement in CT
in our
technology, I
region,
believe
which
you
is
have heard from the
looking
previous
at
speaker.
the workhorse
There are
system where
many
it's focused
advancement in
on the
CT
seamless
technology
workflow
over the
integrated
years.
with AI,
We talk about the
and we look
latest
at AI
advancement
enhanced
in
image
the design
reconstruction,
of the
how it
system,
helps.
of the detector
We look into
system.
the intelligent
Before this, with
dose
spectral
control
CT,
tools that we
with
use
dual
to
source,
manage
with
and
photon
control those.
counting.
We look at
But for me,
artifact
I'm not going to
reduction.
focus
We
on
look
these
at
two. So I will focus more
the
on the
scanner
others
design
where
itself,
it's
the
widely
existing
available
workhorse
in
scanner
our
design
region,
itself.
which is
And then we also
looking
look
at
at
the
how
workforce system where
the
it's focused
advancement
on
of
the
image
seamless workflow
post-processing
integrated with
workstation
AI,
can
and
assist
we look at AI enhanced
in
image
dose
reconstruction, how
management.
it
So
helps.
here, all
We
these
look into the intelligent
contribute to
dose
a
control
smarter dose
tools that we use
management.
to manage and
So
control
let's
those.
first look
We
into the
look at
experience
artifact reduction.
with
We
seamless
look at
workflow, where we improve CT
the
workflow
scanner
powered
design
by the
itself, the existing
AI technology.
workhorse scanner design itself.
So these are
And then we
the
also look
standard
at how
workflow
the
when patient
advancement of
walk
image
into the radiology
post-processing
department.
workstation
So when patient walk
can
in,
assist
enter, checking the
in
names,
dose management.
the name,
So
and
here,
then
all these
position on the patient,
contribute
settings,
to a
scan,
smarter dose
image
management.
process, table
So
out,
let's first look
then
into the
doctors or rad
experience
tech, we look at
with
image
seamless
analysis,
workflow, where we
and
improve
patient
CT
go
workflow
home.
powered
Okay,
by the
so what happened
AI
now is with
technology.
the new advancement
So these are the
of the
standard
workflow, where
workflow
all the
when patient walk
AI
into the radiology department.
or
So when
technology
patient
is
walk in,
integrated, you can
enter,
see a lot of
checking the names,
automation here,
the name,
which
and then
improve a lot of
position
time,
on the
and it
patient,
give more
settings,
time
scan,
for the
image
clinician or the
process,
radiologist or the
table
rad
out,
tech
then
to
doctors or
analyze
rad tech will
the
look at
image, and
analysis,
then to
and
make it
patient go home.
available
Okay,
even before
so
the
what
patient
happened now
exit the
is with the
department.
new
So this
advancement
is how the improvement
of
in
the
terms
workflow,
of workflow
where
that you
all
can
the
see, not only
AI
for Fujifilm, but I believe some of
or
other
technology
vendors
is
has also been
integrated.
doing the
You
same
can see
thing.
a lot
So
of
let's
automation here,
see
which improve a lot of time,
more on
and it
this.
gives more time for the clinician or the radiologist or the rad tech to analyze the image, and then to make it available even before the patient exit the department. So this is how the improvement in terms of workflow that you can see, not only for Fujifilm, but I believe some of other vendors has also been doing the same thing. So let's see more on this.
One single button, session will be appropriate position inside the scanner.
In the room of PC.
And and then the design of Fujifilm table that we can just slide left and right. With choose table, we can position accurately the target area. So that's just a simple video of how this works. Okay, this is briefly what you can see in this seamless workflow with integrated AI. Auto positioning, we have a new 3D camera to detect point of human body. We have camera image is displayed on the vision, and then just a one button setting. For patient safety, we have all this with the guidance so that we can save a lot of things here. Save for the patient itself, make sure it's the right patient on the table. We can train the patient in example in breathing, so that we can acquire the image in one single acquisition, and then we can just let the system position to the target area and collimated it, okay, and so on. So this is the technology, and then as I mentioned, with the wider bore and the lateral slide table, okay, you can position the target area so that you will not expose unnecessarily, and you are using efficient dose exposure for each target area that you wanted to see. Okay, and then the automatic position with the help of the camera, the system will look at the side, and then the margin setting, and then those are where the exposure will be targeted. Similarly for the brain work, for head imaging, you can see the position and the site recognition, and then the workflow become more faster, okay, and it's also reduce the burden with the high-speed scan capability of the scanners.
Margin setting,
okay.
And then those are where.
So now let's move to the next one. Earlier we talked about the workflow, the integrated artificial intelligence workflow. We improve, make it more seamless, and then lesser waste of time. And now we talk about the AI enhanced image reconstruction, where I mentioned Fujifilm have AI platform. We call it Riley, and the technology that make it possible. So we call it over the years in terms of iterative reconstruction technology or image reconstruction technology. Fujifilm introduced what they call it IPV, the Intelli IPV, where it use using machine learning, which is part of the AI technology. Okay, and then you can see this use what we call this
over the years in terms of
iterative progressive reconstructive with visual modeling. We use visual modeling. We look at the physics model. We use object model, and we also using all the statistical model to come up with a good image quality at very low dose, while maintaining the natural image texture, which is the challenge that we have. So you can see here image noise being reduced by 90%, and then those will be reduced almost like 82%. So this is what we can do, and this is how it being represented on a normal painting. So you can see with the older method, image quality. If you put so much iterative reconstruction, it looks more flat, blotchy, and it looks like a painting, a very small painting. But when you apply this smarter iterative reconstruction method, which use visual modeling, you can see that image will appear like what you will capture with a digital camera. So it's sharp, it gives shadows, it gives the real natural texture of the image. So if you look at the normalized graph here, spectrum over the frequency, you can see how high it is with the current iterative reconstruction. direction. You can see the graph is being shifted to the left of the lower frequency, while when you apply the Intelli IPV with visual modeling, it will mimic the similar to the quality or more better in terms of quality with the older, the earlier filter back projection with higher dose exposure. So we might able to achieve the same. But in this case, with Intelli IPV, with the powerful noise reduction method, we can what we call it achieve detailed and sharp image quality with very low dose. Okay, so this is how it looks like. In abdominal, you can see with Intelli IPV, you can still see the texture, you can see the border clearly, while when you look at the current iterative reconstruction, those that are available on most of the scanners, you will kind of struggle to look at the border and to really pinpoint, because we still sometimes need the noise, but the most important thing here, we want to keep the texture of the image. So here you can see on the brain, this is a pediatric images with 1 millimeter thickness. So as you know, when we go lower into the thickness, noise level will increase. So here for lung, okay, when you apply the Intelli IPV, if you can look at the bottom part here, you can start seeing some nodules that appear. Okay, so here you can see on the brain, I have completed the image, the image reconstructive AI integrated technology. Next, we look at intelligent dose control. So where we use dose reduction technology from the scanner to manage the dose. So we have Intelli EC plus dose control considering noise reduction by Intelli IPV. We can what we call it achieve efficient low dose scan. So this is the difference. So at 19.2, which is half of the reduction of rate that we can use with this method. Okay, it's like kind of automatic exposure. And then in the cardiac imaging, we have multiple more advanced technology, but this is one that we use to highlight here is because we're able to reduce more than 58% on this scan. Okay, so you can still achieve a good sharp image quality with what we call this at a very minimal dose compared to the previous technology that are available. So when we look at artifact reduction, so here meter artifact reduction, here we use to assist on improving the image quality that appear as an output implant inside, and is what we call it overlapping with the structure that you wanted to see. So here with what we call it meter artifact reduction technology, integrated iterative processing, okay, we can recognize the metal, the pattern that the metal always created, and then we can still improve the image quality through artifact estimation process, and then we perform the correction processing, and then we will come out with the image. So it's a loop of continuous image processing. So the next one will be on the scanner design itself. Okay, I believe now everyone is moving into more advanced scanner, but again, you don't need to really invest into the fancy scanner for you to be able to perform what we call it low dose techniques. Okay, you can already work with your current scanners through multiple ways. Okay, but here I would like to see that the existing the workhorse scanners have also advancement in terms of what we call it a more advanced tube assembly with more sensitive detector, where we can already start eliminating electrical noise, and then also manage more power consumption with more powerful
the existing
reconstructor hardwares that
the workforce
available.
scanners have
Beside
also advancement
last
in
time,
terms
if
of
you want to
what
perform
we
a
call it
model-based
more
iterative
advanced
reconstruction,
tube
you
assembly
need a
with more
multiple
sensitive
server box
detector where
or
we
server
can
hardware,
already start
and you need to
eliminating
wait for minutes
electrical noise
to get the image
and then
quality.
also
Now
manage more
to
power
have the image
consumption
out to
with more
process.
powerful
Now things are
reconstructor
different.
hardwares
Every
that
machine
available
can
beside
provide you more
last
faster,
time if you want to
high
perform a
speed
model-based
reconstruction.
iterative
And then,
reconstruction,
as I mentioned, the
you need a
filter also
multiple
filter design,
server
and
box
then the
or server
capability of
hardware,
shifting the
and you need to
table
wait for
really
minutes
sometimes can
to get the
help
image quality.
on further
Now
reducing
to
the
make
dose
to have the image
during the
out
acquisition, so you
to
can cut
process.
off those
Now
unnecessary
things are different. Every
those
machine can
through this
provide you more faster,
filter,
high
and
speed
then you can
reconstruction.
again
And then, as I
focus
mentioned, the
on the target
filter
organ
also filter
to be
design,
visualized
and then the
and
capability of shifting the
further come up
table
with a better image
really
quality.
sometimes can
So
help
this is some of the
on
image
further
that
reducing the
come out
dose
from the scanners,
during the acquisition, so you can cut off those
abdominal
unnecessary
reduction of
dose
dose
through
usage,
this
performing
filter, and
lung
then you
screening
can
tools.
again
Lung screening
focus on the
imaging
target
studies,
organ
okay, at a
to be
very
visualized
low
and
dose and so on.
further
So
come
let's
up with
move to
a
the
better image
last part
quality.
of my
So this is some
sharing
of the
today,
image
which is more on the
that come out
advanced
from the
image
scanners,
processing, deep learning
abdominal
iterative reconstruction.
reduction of dose
Now it can be
usage,
integrated with
performing
post-processing workstation. So
lung
it
screening
would, like I
tools.
mentioned, it will not
Lung
run on the
screening
separate
imaging
box
studies,
anymore,
okay,
separate
at a very
CPU or server
low
anymore.
dose
It
and
can be
so on.
integrated
So
into
let's
image
move to the
processing
last
workstation.
part
So
of
for
my
those
sharing
hospitals that
today, which is
what
more
we
on
call
the
this
advanced image processing, deep learning
having a limited
deep
budget
learning
of
iterative
buying a new
reconstruction.
scanner for the sake of doing some
Now it can be integrated with
screening work
post-processing workstation.
or
So
low
it
dose
will,
work,
like I mentioned,
you can
it will
still
not run on
consider
the
of
separate box
working
anymore,
on
separate CPU or server anymore. It can be
exploring
integrated into
on
image processing workstation. So
workstation.
for those hospitals that
And you can see, like example,
what we call this
here for Fujifilm, we have Synapse 3D with
having
more than
a
60
limited budget of
applications
buying a new
that you
scanner
can
for the
use
sake
from
of
the
doing some
brain to chest and
screening work
body.
or low
And
dose
then
work, you can
as you
still
mentioned,
consider
as I
of
mentioned, okay,
working
this is the
on
deep learning iterative reconstruction was
or
previously worked on a
exploring
separate
on
server
image
itself.
post-processing
And it will
workstation.
take some time for it
And
to
you can
be
see, like
able to
example,
process the
here for
image.
Fujifilm, we
But
have Synapse
nowadays
3D
things
with
are
more than
different. So this
60
is the previous
applications
workflow.
that you can use from
Image
the
that coming
brain
from the
to
CT, we send to
chest
the
and
3D
body.
server, and then from there you will process. Okay, so you depend hardly 100% on the dose control and management at the scanner itself. But what we can do here is you can still perform very low dose procedure or
Coming from the CT,
on the
we
CT
send to
scan
the
during the
3D
acquisition, and
server,
at the end
and
when you
then from
perform
there
image
you will
processing,
process.
you can
Okay,
see
so
the
you depend
workstation itself
100%
has
on
been
the dose
integrated
control
with
and management
deep learning
at
iterative
the
reconstructor to
scanner
remove
itself.
the noise from the images. Okay, and this can also
But what we can
improve
do here is
the
you can
workflow and the
still
quality
perform
of the output
very low dose
that you will have to share with the
procedure
radiologists.
on the
So
CT
come
scan
up to
during the
the end
acquisition,
of
and at the
my
end when you perform image
sharing
processing, you can see
today.
the
Okay, so the
workstation
advancement
itself
in
has been
CT technology
integrated with
and impact on the
deep
radiation
learning
dose.
iterative
I've shared
reconstructor
about the
to
seamless
remove
workflow,
the noise
which is
from
Imaging
the
Drive
images.
in
Okay, and
Fujifilm
this
way
can also
of
improve
looking at it. We
the
have a
workflow and the
camera, the
quality
auto
of the output
positioning, the
that you
single
will have
button
to share with the
positioning,
radiologist.
which is powered
So come up
by
to the
AI. We
end
have
of my
enhanced image reconstruction
sharing
technology,
today. Okay, so
which is
the advancement in CT
IPV, and we
technology
have
and
intelligent
impact on the
dose
radiation dose,
control, like I
I've
mentioned
shared
about
about the seamless
IntelliEC,
workflow, which
where
is Imaging
automatic
Drive
exposure
in
according to the
Fujifilm
thickness of the
way
body,
of
and then
looking
we
at it.
have
We have
also
a
addressing
camera, the auto
the need
positioning, the single
of multiple
button
exposure
positioning, which
or
is powered
to remove
by AI. We have
the
enhanced image
artifacts
reconstruction
that
technology,
coming on the picture using meta
which
artifact
is
reduction
the
software.
IPV,
And
and we
then we
have
have
intelligent
design a
dose
faster
control,
aero
like I
bus
mentioned about
scanner
the
design,
TLEEC,
or where there's a new
where
advanced
automatic
tube being
exposure according to
used,
the thickness of the body,
and then
we have
more
also
sensitive
addressing
detector being
the need
implemented. And
multiple
then finally,
exposure
I had talked about the
to
advanced image
remove
post-processing,
the
where you can
artifacts
start seeing a
that
deep learning
coming on the
iterative
picture
reconstruction
using
is embedded
meter artifact
into the
reduction
3D workstation.
software,
And all of
and
this
then we
is
have
to achieve
design a faster
a
and
smarter dose
robust scanner
management for the
design
patient
where
safety,
there's
for
a
the good
new
output
advanced tube
and
being
diagnostics
used,
of image quality, as well
and then
as for the
more
speed
sensitive detector
of
being
the what we call it
implemented, and then
study, so
finally
that you
I have
can
talked
scan
about the
more
advanced
patient
image
and you
post-processing,
can scan
where you
patient
can start seeing a
with
deep
lower
learning
dose.
iterative
So
reconstruction
with
is
that, I would like
embedded
to thank
into the
everyone
3D workstation,
for your
and all of this
attention.
is to achieve
I
a
want to
smarter
hand
dose
over this to
management for the
the
patient
Madam
safety,
Faika
for the good output,
for the
and
next
diagnostic of image
session.
quality, as well as for the speed of the what we call it
Okay,
study,
thank you,
so that you
Mr.
can
Isno,
scan
for
more
your
patient
insightful session.
and you can scan
Okay,
patient
it's
with
kind
lower
of
dose.
compromise
So with that, I
everything.
would like to
I
thank
think it's
everyone
completed what
for
is
your
actually
attention.
we
I want to
would
hand
like
over
to
this
hear
to
from
the
the
Madam Faika
for the advancement of the city
for the
imaging
next
itself.
session.
Okay, so finally we're going to invite our final speaker.
Okay,
Our
thank you,
final speaker
Mr.
is
Isno,
Associate
for your
Professor Dr.
insightful
Akmal
session.
Sabaruddin,
Okay,
a distinguished medical imaging researcher and educator at the Center for Diagnostic, Therapeutic, and Investigative Studies, or CODIS, in UKM.
For the advancement
He
of
holds
the
a PhD in medical imaging from Curtin University,
finally,
Australia,
we're going to
and
invite our
specialized in
final
cardiac
speaker.
CT imaging,
Our
radiation
final
dose
speaker is Associate
optimization, and
Professor
image
Dr.
quality
Akmal
enhancement.
Sabaruddin, a
Dr.
distinguished
Akmal has
medical
published
imaging researcher and
extensively in
educator
top-tier
at the
medical
Center
imaging
for
journals
Diagnostic,
on development of
Therapeutic,
diagnostic
and
reference
Investigative
level
Studies,
for
or CODIS,
CT
in
imaging,
UKM.
and
He holds
this
a
is a very
PhD in
important
medical
part,
imaging
okay?
from
He is
Curtin
a
University,
council member
Australia,
of the Malaysian
and specialized in
Allied
cardiac
Health
CT
Profession
imaging,
under the
radiation
Ministry of
dose
Health Malaysia,
optimization,
where
and
he
image
plays
quality
a key role
enhancement.
in shaping
Dr.
national
Akmal
policies
has
and
published
professional standards for
extensively
allied health
in
profession.
top-tier medical imaging
He is
journals
also an
on
advisor
development
for
of
medical
diagnostic
imaging curriculum
reference level
developments
for
and
CT
advocate
imaging, and
for
he
radiation
is,
safety
this
in
is a
clinical
very
setting.
important
His
part, okay?
presentation,
He is a
role of
council member
radiographers
of the
in
Malaysian
optimizing
Allied
CT
Health
protocol,
Profession
will
under the
explore the
Ministry of Health Malaysia, where he plays a
evolving
key role in
responsibilities
shaping
of
national policies
radiographers in
and professional
ensuring
standards
optimized
for
CT
allied
protocol
health
and patient
profession.
safety.
He is
Please
also an
welcome
advisor for
Associate
medical
Professor
imaging curriculum
Dr.
developments
Akmal
and
Sabaruddin.
advocate for radiation safety
Thank
in
you,
clinical
Madam
setting.
Chairman,
His
and
presentation, role
hello
of
and everyone.
radiographers
Hello
in
and good morning.
optimizing
I
CT
think it's still
protocol,
morning. Okay.
will
So
explore the
first of all, I would like
involvement
to thank to organizing committee
evolving
for giving this
responsibilities of
opportunity for me to
radiographers
talk
in
and
ensuring
share about
optimized CT
part of
protocol and patient
it's very
safety.
important
Please welcome
topic.
Associate
It's about
Professor Dr.
radiographers' role.
Akmal
So in
Sabaruddin.
optimizing CT Thank you, scan Madam Chairman, protocol. and so before that, hello and everyone. allow me Hello to and share good morning. my I think it's still slides. morning. Okay. So first
Okay.
of all, I would like to thank to organizing committee for giving this
So there you go.
opportunity for me to
So
talk
I hope
and share
everybody can
about
see my slide.
part of it's
Yeah,
very
we can see it
important
clearly, Dr.
topic. It's about
Okay, so thank you again.
radiographers'
So
role.
today
So in
my topic so that I want to
optimizing
share is about
CT
rules of
scan
radiographer in
protocol.
optimizing CT
So before
protocol,
that,
and has
allow
been
me to share
elaborated about
my
myself
slides.
clearly
Okay.
by Madam Chairperson, Madam Faika. Okay, thank you very much.
So
And
there you
let's
go.
go
So I hope everybody
to
can see my
listen to this
slide.
topic. Okay, so
Yeah, we
before
can
I
see it
begin, so
clearly,
let me
Dr.
bring you
Okay,
a
so
little bit
thank you
about
again. So
introduction.
today,
Okay, so
my topic
I
so
know
that I
it
want
has
to share
been
is about rules of
explained a little
radiographer
bit by
in
our first
optimizing
speaker and then
CT
second
protocol,
speaker. So this
and
is I
has
just
been
touch base on
elaborated
this.
about
So what
myself
is CT imaging? So it's
clearly
computed
by Madam
tomography. Okay,
Chairperson, Madam
imaging
Faika. Okay, thank you very
is a
much.
diagnostic
And
technique that
let's
uses
go
X-ray beams and computer
to
processing
listen
to
to this
create
topic.
detailed
Okay, cross-sectional images of the body. So I think this is like bread and butter for radiographers nowadays, because long time ago, this is like advanced procedure, but now everybody should know how to handle at least basic scan of CT upon graduation. Okay. Unlike traditional X-ray, CT scan provide 3D representations, allowing for more precise visualization of internal organs, bones, soft tissue, and blood vessels. So this is the main important aspect, that how CT give advantage more compared to other imaging modalities. So importance of CT imaging. So we have like a few otherwise CT being created, so they can help us to make our life easier, especially for radiology, for them to diagnose and to give provide a better diagnosis in order to get better management for the patients. Okay, so first, of course, accurate diagnosis, so which CT helps detect diseases such as cancer, infection, and internal injuries, and also provides clear images of organs, enabling early detection of abnormalities. So this is what we understand how accurate it can be. Okay, and then next, CT also can be used as emergency. So essential in trauma cases for rapid assessment in injuries, such as brain hemorrhage and fractures. Okay, so any bony fractures. So we can see the details of this for further assessment and further investigation, and to help us to do management for the patient better. And also CT can use in emergency as assistance in stroke diagnosis by distinguishing between ischemic and hemorrhagic stroke. Okay, so as you know, we have like two types of stroke, whether it is ischemic, okay, or maybe it's a rupture of the blood vessels, so that we call as hemorrhagic strokes. Okay. Another importance of CT imaging is it can be used as guidance for medical procedure. Okay, so whereby we use image-guided intervention, okay, such as biopsy. So biopsy is the most prominent medical procedure that use CT as a guide, especially at the area of lung, okay, and then drainage procedures and tumor ablation. So these are the main reason why we need CT and CT become prominent and very important modality in this helping to guide the medical procedure. And other than that, it assists in surgical planning by providing detailed anatomical insight, okay, because we can see the clear detail of anatomical structure, so inside our human body, so by using a CT scan. So therefore, especially when they need to do a surgery, okay, for the next management of the patient, so it helps a lot on this CT. It's not only by looking at two-dimensional pictures, axial scanning, but they can develop into 3D modeling, okay, and then you can rotate and then use multiplanar reformations, okay, and you can have like all these different planes and to look the structures clearly. And then the importance of CT imaging, that we can use CT to monitor treatment progress. So this is like most one of the benefits of having CT, okay, because it tracks the effectiveness of cancer treatment like chemotherapy and radiation therapy. We want to see the growth of the tumor. We want to see the progression of our medical deliverance in terms of medication, in terms of treatment, whether it is effective or not. So if not, then they need to do like another intervention in order to ensure that the successful of the treatment for the patient. So CT helps a lot in monitoring this. And then evaluate post-surgical healing and complication. So, and because post surgical, so we can see whether there's anything abnormal inside, okay, because sometimes they could be touch wood if medical surgical negligence, it could happen that, because we heard about the news, okay, long time ago they have like a lot of incidents, but by using CT it can monitor whether it is like safe or not after one of the procedures being done. Okay, and then another importance of CT imaging, it is a non-invasive technique, and it is super fast. Okay, so as mentioned by a lot of speakers before, so it can get, the procedure, when we see the development of CT long time ago, the first generation, so if you want to scan head scan, it takes like 5 minutes, and then now it become like 1 minute or less. Okay, so then this is why CT is very, very important.
Okay, and then another importance of CT imaging,
so it provides high resolution images in a matter of seconds,
and it is
and
super
then it
fast.
also minimizes the need of
Mentioned by
exploratory surgeries. Okay, because
the procedure
without
when we
CT,
see the
so then
development of
they have to
CT
do
long
like
time
open
ago,
heart,
the first
open
generation.
abdominal
So if you want
surgery,
to scan
okay,
head
open
scan,
chest
it takes
surgery.
like
Okay,
5
they want to
minutes,
see
and then now
everything,
it become
but
like
with
1 minute or
CT,
less. Okay,
it
so
provides
then
like a lot of
this is why
information,
CT is
anatomical
very, very
structure,
important
so
in
they
most
can
of
see
the
everything
radiological
without
department.
doing
So it provides high resolution images
exploration
in a
during
matter of
surgery. So
seconds,
it
and then it
save
also
time
minimizes
during
the need of
surgery, and it helps a lot improve the
exploratory
medical
surgeries. Okay, because
aspect.
without CT,
Okay, and
so
then
then they
last
have to do like
importance of CT imaging, it
open
can be
abdominal
used in
surgery,
application
okay,
in
open
various
chest surgery.
specialties.
Okay, they
Okay,
want
so
to
there are
see
more
everything,
other
but
than
with
this four, but
CT,
this four is
it
quite
provides like a
common.
lot
First is
information,
neurology, so
anatomical
whereby the
structure,
brain
so they
scan for
can see
tumor, for
everything
example,
without doing
strokes, aneurysm, you just name it. So
exploration
everything,
during
every
surgery. So
single
it
disease that inside
save time during
regarding
surgery,
to
and it
neurology
helps a lot improve the medical
assessment that can be done, okay, using
aspect.
CT, and it helps a lot on
Okay, and
giving
then a last
better
importance
diagnosis
of
for
CT
this.
imaging, it
And
can be
same
used
goes to
in application
cardiology.
in
So
various
when
specialties. Okay,
we
so
get
there
like
are
the
more other
advancement
than
of
these four,
CT,
but
like
these four
starting
is
like
quite
60
common.
slice,
First is
64,
neurology,
and then now
so whereby the brain
640
scan for tumor,
and
for example,
beyond. Okay, so
strokes,
we see
aneurysm, you
the
just name it. So
technological
everything,
advancement is
every single disease that inside.
progressively changing very,
Regarding
very
to
rapid.
neurology,
So then we can get
assessment
more
that can be
benefit
done, okay, using
from
CT, and it
the
helps a
technological
lot on giving
advancement. So in cardiology,
better
so
diagnosis
it's
for this.
been
And
introduced
same
about
goes to
CT,
cardiology.
coronary
So when
angiography to
we get
assess
like
heart
the
condition, and
advancement of
some of the
CT, like
place
starting like
they use
16
this as a
slice,
screening,
64,
okay, for the
and then now
patient, because
640
with
and
advancement that they
beyond.
can
Okay, so
reduce the
you see
radiation
the
significantly,
technological
so it
advancement is
become safe to do
progressively
as
changes
a
very, very
screening method.
rapid. So
And
then
then in
we can
orthopedic,
get
okay, so
more
CT
benefit
helps in
from
detecting bone
the
fractures,
technological
joint
advancement. So in
disorders, and
cardiology,
spinal
so
injuries, and
it's
more. Okay,
been
they
introduced
give
about
like
CT,
a very
coronary
fine
angiography
fractures,
to
okay,
assess heart condition,
provide
and some of
images
the
to
place
look
they
into
use this
that
as a
some
screening, okay, for the
X-ray that
patient,
cannot
because
detect.
with advancement
Okay,
that
and
they
then
can
in
reduce the radiation
oncology
significantly,
cases,
so
they
it
use
become
staging and
safe to
monitoring
do
of
as
tumors. And
a
in
screening
fact,
method.
now
And
it's
then
has
in
been embedded
orthopedic,
in
okay, so CT helps in
radiotherapy
detecting
treatment,
bone
where they have
fractures,
their
joint
own CT.
disorders,
They
and
can use
spinal
that as
injuries,
well,
and more.
other than
Okay,
planning,
it
so they
gives
can
like
help in
a very
doing
fine
staging and monitoring
fractures,
of
okay,
tumors.
provide images to
Okay,
look
and
into
then
that
with that I
some
can
X-ray
conclude
that
about
cannot
how important is
detect.
CT imaging,
Okay, and then in
because in modern medicine,
oncology
okay, so
cases,
it's very,
they
very
use staging
important,
and
and it play
monitoring
crucial
of
role
tumors. And in
in
fact,
enhancing
now
diagnostic
it has been
accuracy,
embedded in
improving patients' outcome, and also
radiotherapy
guiding
treatment,
medical
where they have
interventions.
their
Okay,
own
so with
CT, they can
continuous
use that as
advancement
well,
in
other than
technology,
planning, so they
CT
can help
scans are
in doing
becoming more
staging and
efficient,
monitoring of
safer,
tumors.
and increasingly essential in
Okay,
healthcare.
and
So
then
it's all
with
about
that I can
importance
conclude
of the
about how
CT. And then
important is
now
CT
let's look
imaging,
into how
because
are
in
we
modern
contributing
medicine,
in
okay,
this
so
role,
it's very,
how we
very
can play a
important, and it
significant
play a
role
crucial
to
role
help this
in
come
enhancing
true.
diagnostic
Okay, so when we
accuracy,
talk about CT
improving
protocol
patients' outcome, and
optimization,
also
so
guiding
of
medical
course they have
interventions.
been
Okay, so with
highlighted why
continuous
it has
advancement
to be
in
optimized,
technology,
because it
CT
can
scans are becoming
the
more
CT
efficient,
protocol
safer, and
optimization
increasingly
can
essential in
enhance the
healthcare.
diagnostic
So it's all
accuracy,
about
reducing patient
importance of the
radiation
CT.
dose,
And
and
then
also
now
ensuring
let's look into
consistency in imaging
how are we
modality. But
contributing
how
in this
can
role,
we do
how
that?
we can
Okay, so
play
let's
a
look into it.
significant
So
role
first,
to
let's
help
look
this
into the
come
role of
true.
radiographer
Okay,
in
so when we
CT
talk about
protocol
CT
optimization.
protocol
So we
optimization,
see first
so
is
of course they
optimizing
have
radiation
been
dose for
highlighted
image
why
clarity.
it has to be
So
optimized,
I
because
think
it
like
can
most of us
the CT
already
protocol
understand
optimization
ALARA principle.
can
Okay, so
enhance the
applying
diagnostic
alarm ALARA is not only in general X-ray, but in all radiation apparatus modality. Okay, so therefore that we can show our professionalism that radiation dose, I mean like the safety of the patient is our utmost important other than providing
I think like most of us
good quality
already understand
images.
ALARA
Okay? So
principle.
ALARA
Okay, so
principle as low
applying
as
ALARA
reasonably
is not
achievable.
only
So
in
ensure the
general
radiation dose
X-ray,
is
but in
sufficient for
all
diagnostic quality, but
radiation
not excessive.
apparatus
And we
modality.
heard
Okay,
before
so
about
therefore
there
that
are
we
lots
can
of techniques
show our
to
professionalism
reduce
that
radiation dose, and
radiation
there
dose, I
are
mean like the
a lot of
safety of the
ways how
patient
to
is
measure and
our
monitor the dose.
utmost important.
Okay, and then by
Other
adjusting
than
KVP,
providing
MAS, okay, based on patient size
good
and
quality
clinical
images.
indication,
Okay, so
enhances
ALARA
contrast
principle as
resolution
low as
without increasing noise.
reasonably
So I will
achievable.
explain a
So
little
ensure
bit
the
in
radiation
detail
dose is
on my
sufficient
next
for diagnostic
point.
quality,
Okay,
but
and
not
so
excessive.
but
And
we
we
have
heard
to
before
understand
about
that not
there are lots of technique
fixed
to
KVP
reduce
is
radiation dose,
suit for
and there
all.
are
Okay,
a
because
lot of
we have
ways how
to
to
you
measure
know
and monitor the dose.
understand how this
Okay,